Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Paul Page. I'm the MC for today's show, and it's going to be quite a day. But let me put a proposition forward to you. It's cold outside. I don't know if any of you noticed, but it's cold. And I've been to a lot of these Founder Days, and I mean, we've had blizzards, we've had driving rain. I suspect we've not had two really good weather days in the past couple of decades. So here's my proposition. We're going to disband the Grand Lodge of Indiana, because our founders really screwed this up, if you think about it. Then we will reestablish the Grand Lodge of Indiana in July, so we have great weather. Are you with me on that one? There's a lot of good information yet to come forward today. We have some wonderful presentations. A couple of pretty good skits as well. I think you'll enjoy the day. I think it'll also be quite educational for all of you. And again, those of you who braved the weather and made it here, great. And those of you who are watching on our global broadcast, welcome as well. Founders Day 2024. As you are about to see, this is a very special day.
Brotherly love, relief, and truth. The three guiding principles of Masonry. They are, if you will, the art of Masonry. When we become Masons, we are called upon to display these attributes to others. But how do we do that? And what do they even mean? Well, with brotherly love, we are taught to regard the whole human race as one family. That every true Freemason will show tolerance, civility, and respect for the opinion of others, and behave with kindness and understanding toward his fellow creatures. With relief, we are taught that relieving the distressed is a duty that is especially incumbent upon Masons. It is our duty to practice charity and to care not only for our own, but for our community as a whole. We do this by charitable giving and by voluntary efforts and works as individuals. And we learn that truth is a divine attribute and is the foundation of every virtue. Truth is the light that dispels the darkness of non-truth and deceit. We are taught to be sincere, to strive for high moral standards, and to lift up and rejoice in each other's successes. But how do we show brotherly love, relief, and truth in our everyday lives, both as individuals and as an organization? How do we display these attributes? In other words, how do we practice the art of Freemasonry? At this time, we'd like to share with you a brief story of how one lodge has attempted to address this fundamental issue. The time is now, just a few difficult years following a pandemic. The place is the common meeting room of Somerville Lodge number 322. You see, we have seated in the center the worshipful master. The senior warden and junior warden are seated to the sides. We now join the lodge and their guests as they begin planning for a Masonic reunion celebration. Let's listen in as the worshipful master welcomes everyone to the planning session.
Brothers, I have prepared a few words today. Thank you for being here today. We really appreciate you taking the time to come by and enjoy a little bit of fellowship with us, and that you have decided to come aboard this Masonic reunion celebration. Working this project as a team leaves no doubt that our efforts will be a success. Today, we will start the process of taking what began as a simple notion and turning it into a full-blown celebration. We are going to inject a huge dose of warmth, sunshine into this event in hopes that it will yield the power of brotherly love. My brothers, today is indeed special. Why, just think about it. After almost 2 years of self-imposed isolation, we are finally going to start working on something that will help bring us back into the light. Today, we take the first steps toward bringing a much-needed Masonic reunion and celebration to fruition. But of course, brethren, like the warning label on a package says, caution, this activity remains subject to the higher-ups, granting us the green light to move forward. Brothers, I made that remark kind of tongue-in-cheek to make a point. Staying upbeat throughout this project will be critical to our success. A positive attitude will help defend us against the effects of those occasional stumbling blocks that will undoubtedly present themselves. Think of all the stumbling blocks that were present when our Masonic founding fathers journeyed to Madison, Indiana in January of 1818. Occasional setbacks occur then, they'll occur now. But we cannot lose heart because Freemasonry was made for this moment. Brother Junior Deacon, will you attend to the wall? Now where were we? Oh yes, I remember. Let's pledge to one another right here that we will stay positive and we will do our best to keep ourselves feeling upbeat about the future. I say let's get started making those plans. It's time, gentlemen. Let's get busy with this project and do something that will help bring a little bit of normalcy back into our lives.
Worshipful Master, it's a guy that's having some car troubles, and he's wanting to know if we could give him a ride.
Yes, please tell him we are in a meeting right now, and if he wants to wait, afterwards, maybe we can help him. I now call on our senior warden for a few words.
Thank you, Worshipful. Brethren, when the notion of a Masonic celebration was first mentioned at one of our stated meetings, I wasn't really a big fan. In fact, I did everything that I could to quash the whole thing. I felt that it would be harmful, reckless, and a total waste of good money. But thanks to our junior warden, the subject kept being brought up for discussion. Eventually, we decided that a project like this should be assessed. And let me tell you, we thoroughly assessed it. Eventually, we decided that a project like this would have an uplifting effect on our membership. Likewise, we thought that if we could get our sister lodges involved, we might just make it a win-win for everyone. So after weighing out the pros and the cons, we decided unanimously to go for it. We also decided that we should have plans in place that should we get the green light from the higher-ups, like Worshipful Master alluded to, we would be ready to do something. But just what that something was still a huge question.
Brother Junior Deacon, will you please tell him to wait until we are finished with our meeting, and then we can help him. I'm sorry about that. Please continue, Brother Senior Warden.
Now, I do feel a duty to let you know that I think this project carries with it a bit of a gamble. We can make this project good, Or we can make it great, depending on just how we play the cards, which will be dealt. You see, we feel a fair percentage of our membership may not be ready to venture out of their comfort zones. If this happens, we cannot allow ourselves to become frustrated, nor say or do anything that may alienate the very ones which we are hoping to serve. Instead, let's turn this into an opportunity. Let's see if there's anything else that we can do to assist them, and then, as soon as we can, follow through with their requests. We should also keep in mind that even if our attendance turns out to be less than hoped for, we can still turn this into a good time for everyone, even those who can't attend. We can do this by having a backup plan, a plan B. We should make arrangements to have volunteers ready to carry our prepared meals and our well wishes out to the homes to those who can't attend. That way, whatever plan we follow, everyone will benefit from our efforts. And isn't that the goal? Isn't helping each other what we should be doing? I like this, and I happen to believe that come high water or drought, we can make this happen, and happen in a big way.
Well, I thank you, Brother Senior Warden, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Where's the master?
Yes, did you tell him Wayne?
It isn't the guy with car trouble. It's a bunch of kids, and they're asking if they can use our sidewalk to do some chalk art. It's just for a school project.
No, I don't think so. Why, if one of those kids was to get hurt, they'd sue our pants off. You tell them they just need to leave. I apologize, brothers, for these interruptions. As I was about to say, for nearly 2 years now, our lives have been turned upside down. Who would ever thought we would learn new terms like pandemic, social distancing? We've had to hunker down, avoid crowds, wear masks, we've socially distanced, taken shots, received boosters, and we've used more hand sanitizer than most of us ever knew existed. Right? Yet somehow, through it all, we've managed to weather the storm. As such, I have come to believe that the tide is beginning to ebb, and we are slowly returning to normalcy. Yes, life does seem to be improving. If this were not so, we could not have been here today. This itself is a bit of a miracle. Hopefully, we will soon find ourselves standing at the threshold of a brighter, better future for all mankind. In fact, I believe this would be the perfect time for a toast. It takes darkness for light to be able to truly shine. I thank God for his great light. Brothers, lift your glasses in celebration of the light that pierces all darkness and guides us forward. Brothers, repeat after me. To the light that pierces all darkness and guides us forward.
To the light that pierces all darkness and guides us forward.
Please be seated. Brother, would you please tell those kids to wait? Actually, tell you what, tell them to leave.
George Master, I too would like to propose a toast.
By all means, please do, Brother Senior Warden.
Brethren, as we celebrate the dawn of brighter days ahead, I think it would only be fitting that we celebrate and remember the lives of those who could not weather this terrible storm. Our brothers, our friends, our relatives who had to go on and go to their eternal reward in that celestial lodge above. Brethren, please rise. To those our loved ones who have gone on before us and crossed that great divide, You may no longer walk among us, but you will live forever in our hearts. Let us raise our glasses in memory of our departed loved ones. Repeat after me. May you live in our hearts until we are together again.
May you live in our hearts until we are together again.
Partake. Brethren, please remain standing. I would now like to call upon our chaplain. Brother Chaplain, please lead us in a word of prayer for our departed loved ones and those they left behind.
Brethren, if you be reverently attentive, Supreme Architect of the universe, we would reverently invoke thy blessings at this time. And please grant speedy relief to those who have been affected in the last 2 years, and be with those who have transferred to that celestial lodge above. And always instill in us those tenets of brotherly love, relief, and truth. In your holy name, amen.
So may it be. Thank you, brethren. Please be seated.
Worshipful Master, it isn't the kids. It's a guy in firefighter gear. He saw all of our cars. He's doing a bucket drive to raise money for a family that had lost everything in the fire last week. I told him I'd come in and talk to the brothers.
Go ahead and tell Henry that we're going to have a meeting later on this month. We'll bring it up at that time, and maybe we might have. Brothers, we are never going to get through this meeting. People keep knocking on that door.
Worship, may I make a toast?
Yes, please do.
Brother, please rise. It is intended that the lessons of the lot be the light that guides us through this world. Repeat after me. May Freemasonry's light shine for all who travel.
May Freemasonry's light shine for all who travel.
Partake. Please be seated. First of all, if I may, I have a short story I would like to share.
Please.
Brother, since the pandemic, we have been hearing the phrase, practicing the art of Freemasonry. Along with that, we have been encouraged to find ways to help those who cannot help themselves. When I heard this, I was overjoyed. I felt like that I was finally given the okay to do the things that I really enjoyed doing. And that was to get out there and to be the light. Let me explain that. When I joined this fraternity, I became a part of a small group who tried to get more people involved. We promoted things like helping those in need, calling on our shut-ins, checking on our widows. We encouraged our younger members as a group to be involved in more community activities, and if given the opportunity, to participate in parades. We had our senior members, we convinced them and their wives to make plans for lodge picnics. We had brothers with construction skills that would go out and help those in need with projects around their home. Some of us even organized a ride program where we would provide rides for those who did not have transportation to places like the grocery store, the doctor's office, and sometimes even the lodge. We really liked doing this. We thought that's what Freemasonry was all about. Now, it didn't take me long to find out that some of our members didn't agree with me. One night after our monthly meeting of dinner, two of the senior members took me aside and told me that several of the members thought I shouldn't be promoting all those superfluous activities. They were afraid those activities would spill over and cause our brothers not to come to law. Then they smiled at me, said, almost in unison, "We are Freemasons. We are not cooks, entertainers, taxi drivers, fundraisers, parade watchers, or call makers, or anything else. We are Freemasons. Our job is to find good men and turn them into Freemasons. That is who we are, and that is what we do." And as they turned and started to walk away, one of them said to me, "You know, we think that you should focus on stuff that would be more beneficial to the success and future of our lodge. Try learning a little ritual. Leave all that other stuff to the Shriners and the churches and stuff." Well, I have to tell you, that whispered bit of counsel was wasted on me. It made me more determined. And I finally found a lodge where the members and I enjoyed the similar philosophy about practicing the art of Freemasonry. I don't know how I would say this, but I don't want you to get me wrong. I think doing ritual work and bringing new members into our fraternity is most important, because if we don't do that, we would cease to exist. I think Freemasonry is about caring and respecting everyone. I think Freemasonry is about helping those in need, regardless of their background and who they are. And I think it is about being true to ourselves and to our community. Practicing the art of Freemasonry, that phrase contains the key word practicing. The root word is practice. And my old English teacher told me that practice was an action verb. It means we have to do something. We have to get up our seats and actually go out and do something. And that something is to help others in need, to being a good role model, and to showing love and friendship to all. And by showing what a Freemason should be, can be, and will be, maybe then others will want to join us. I practice the art of Freemasonry every chance I get. Not only me, but I believe most Masons thinks that is what Freemasonry is all about. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. Brother Junior Warden, I really appreciate those words today. They were truly inspiring. Most Masons today do believe that is what Freemasonry is all about. Let's build on that and do our part to make this world better for generations to come. But for now, let's get out there and be the light. Let's do our small part to get started. And we can do that by planning for this celebration reunion.
Worshipful Master, may I say something?
Yes, you may.
Worshipful Master, I've listened to the discussion this afternoon, and I've heard your remarks, and I've heard the remarks of the senior warden, and I've heard the remarks of the special agent. All three of you have proposed the notion that an important part of being a Freemason is helping others. Well, it seems like we just missed 3 excellent opportunities to do just that. 3 times today, someone knocked on our door asking for help. And 3 times we turned them away. We talk about helping people, but when we're given the opportunity, we hesitated. I understand that we have to tread carefully, but it seems like we're spending more time looking for barriers then we are opportunities to help. At least that's my opinion.
Thank you, Brother Junior Deacon. All I can say is that you're absolutely correct. I fear we have been so caught up in our excitement for the reunion and our enthusiasm to help others, we couldn't see the forest for the trees. You're right, just tonight, we could have helped the man that needed car repairs. We could have allowed the kids that came to our door to do the chalk art out front. And we could have contributed to the firemen's fund. But instead, we pushed them off. We just got so focused on being a Mason that we actually forgot what a Mason is. Now, let's start showing the world that Freemasonry is great. Let's show them what Freemasonry is all about. And you know what? We can actually do that by start planning for a great reunion celebration that will help our members as well as others. So let's just get started.
Practicing the art of Freemasonry. Today we saw it starting with one lodge. Or did we? You know, it's an easy thing to talk about practicing the art of Freemasonry, yet it's entirely something different to actually practice the art of Freemasonry. How many opportunities did we miss last year? Are we watching and listening for the knocks upon our door? When is a man a Mason? Oh, when he knows how to pray, how to love, how to hope. When he has kept faith with himself, with his fellow man, with his God. In his hand a sword for evil, in his heart a bit of a song. Glad to live, but not afraid to die. Such a man has found the only real secret of Masonry, and the one which it is trying to give to all the world. My brothers, what will you do with this art of Freemasonry? Talk about it or practice it? What if we showed our communities that the light of Freemasonry truly brings added value, not just to our members, but to our community as a whole? What if we displayed those virtues of brotherly love, relief, and truth? What if we displayed the light of Freemasonry to all? For if you and I do not lead the way, what then? Indeed, what then?
That was really good. And by the way, that was created by past Grand Master Kenneth Roy Jr. and Keith Spurgeon. Let's give the cast another round of applause. Brethren, I will now introduce to you the past Grand Masters who are here with us today, the men who helped create who we are today over the years. Most worshipful, if you will please rise and remain standing when your name is called. Most worshipful Brother Gail N. Kemp, 2000-2001. Most worshipful Brother Roger S. Van Gordon, 2002 and 3. Most worshipful Brother James L. Chesney, 2003 and 4. Most worshipful Brother Dwayne L. Vaught, 2007 and 8. Most worshipful Brother Jeffrey P. Zaring, 2008, 2009. Most worshipful Brother Daniel J. Berney, 2014 and 15. Most worshipful Brother William A. Reiners, 2015 and 16. Worshipful Brother Carl E. Coleman, 2018 and 19. Most worshipful Brother Kenneth Roy Jr., 2019 and 20. Most Worshipful Brother Daniel L. Martin, 2021 and 2, and Most Worshipful Brother Richard L. Lentz, 2022 and 2023. Please join me in greeting our Grand Masters and past Grand Masters with grand honors, 3 times 3, taking your cue from me. Now, I would like to introduce to you the Grand Lodge officers who are here with us today. The officers will please rise and remain standing when your name is called. Right Worshipful Brother David G. Morgan, the Deputy Grand Master. Most Worshipful Brother Kenneth E. Willis, past Grand Master, the Grand Treasurer. Most Worshipful Brother Richard J. Ellman, past Grand Master, Grand Secretary. Will you join me once again in offering grand honors, greeting these wonderful gentlemen. Thank you. Continuing, Right Worshipful Brother Randolph L. Seipel, the Senior Grand Warden. Right Worshipful Brother John A. Bridegroom, the Junior Grand Warden. Worshipful Brother Michael D. Brinson, the Grand Chaplain. Worshipful Brother Dennis R. Davis, the Grand Lecturer. Worshipful Brother W. Dirk Rader, the Assistant Grand Lecturer. Worshipful Brother David E. Westmeyer, the Grand Marshal. Worshipful Brother Stephen A. Bates, the Senior Grand Deacon. Worshipful Brother Jerry B. Maple, the Junior Grand Deacon. Worshipful Brother Tracy E. V. Coxey, the Grand Steward and Tyler. Brethren, please join with me in giving these a hearty welcome. Also assisting the Grand Master and the Grand Lodge, Worshipful Brother Andrew C. Stevens, the PR and Marketing Director. Worshipful Brother Derek D. Sterneman, the Grand Photographer for the Grand Lodge of Indiana. Will you please join me in giving these gentlemen a hearty welcome. I now call upon the Grand Commander, Knights Templar of the state of Indiana, and its Grand Commander, Randall P. Ellington, to escort the Grand Master of Freemasons in the state of Indiana into the theater. My brethren, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Most Worshipful Brother Gary E. Brinley, Grand Master of Masons for the state of Indiana. You will greet your Grand Master with grand honors. Taking your cue from me, 3 over 3.
Wish to thank the Grand Commander, the Grand Commandery, for the courtesy extended to me. For the Grand Commander, you are dismissed.
Grand and the Deputy Grand Commander, dismiss the line. Right and left, speak! Cattle march, move!
well done. Thank you, gentlemen. I now call on our Grand Chaplain, Michael D. Brinson, for the invocation.
Brethren, if you will, be of the mind of prayer. Almighty, ever glorious and gracious Lord God, we come to you this day to give you all the praise and all the glory, and thank you for all the manifold blessings and comforts that you provide us. We ask that you continue to give us wisdom in all of our doings, strength of mind in all of our difficulties, and the beauty of harmony and holiness in all that we do. As we continue to have faith as our hope, and charity, the fruit of our foundation, to our reviled will. All of this we beg in the honor of thy holy name, to whom be the glory now and forevermore. Amen.
Glory.
Now, brethren, will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, brethren, if you will please join our Senior Grand Warden, Randolph L. Seipel, in singing the national anthem, the first and the fourth verse.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, thus be it ever when free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation, blessed with victory and peace. May the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto: in God is our trust, and the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
What a beautiful voice. Beautiful voice. Grandmaster, we welcome you to the 2024 Founders Day. I turn the gavel of authority over to you and welcome you and wish you the best for a productive day of education and fellowship.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. Please be seated. So before I get started, I have two presentations to make. Would the representative for Circumpunct Lodge UD please make your way towards the podium. And Paul. So Paul, for about the last 10 years, Paul has been doing the skits for Founders Day. This is the first year that he has not. Last year he said, I'm out of ideas. And he said, I'm ready to retire. And so we've got a little bit of a award for you. It's an award of excellence to Paul Page, and signed by me and our Grand Secretary.
Grandmaster, you've done it to me again. No idea. It's a great honor, and it's been a joy doing it. Now we have to move on. All of us have to step aside, and I've done it. Thank you, Grandmaster.
So, within the last 60 days, we have created a new UD Lodge in preparation for them to hopefully get a charter at annual communication in May. And so I'd like to invite the representatives of Circumpunk Lodge forward. So we have for them their under dispensation charter. We will present this to you, and I look forward to being able to present your official charter come in.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, brethren, our goals for 23-24 we had three. Number one was related to membership and membership recruitment, trying to drive and increase our new Master Masons coming into our lodges. Second was to rethink proficiency, to be able to bring those Master Masons forward and through our degrees, without them having to join in a ritual club or a memorization club. And number three was to help with onboarding of the new members, continue to do engagement and re-engagement and practicing the art of Freemasonry. Our membership challenge was for every Master Mason to sign a petition, and we've fallen a little bit short of that. A year ago at Founders Day, I talked about our historical numbers. You can see our membership through 2004 through 2022 on the screen. Our raisings over that period of time have averaged about 2% of the beginning year numbers. Our deaths have been about 3.5%, so we're not raising enough to even match our deaths. I ran some membership projections last year and presented them based upon different raising levels. At 2% in 20 years, we'd be down to a fraternity of 12,000 members in Indiana. If we could run 3.5% consistently, enough to replace the deaths, we'd be in the mid-20,000s. If we could do 6%, which tends to be what we lose, we'd be in the 40,000s in 20 years. And if we could get to 10%, which is the goal that we've talked about as long as I've been involved here as an officer in the Grand Lodge, we could get back up to being a fraternity of 100,000 in 20 years. So looking at our numbers as of 2023, this is as of January 10th, based upon what the secretaries have inputted into the database. We started the year with 40,772. We've had 803 new Master Masons. Our projections based on 2% was 814. I would guess we'll end up a handful more than the 803 because I'm sure there's a couple lodges that are still working on finishing up, adding to the database. Looking at just some of the other numbers, affiliated, including dual members, 199. We had 129 reinstated. We had deaths of 1,428, so slightly above our 3.5% number. Demits, 499, compared to a projected of 407, with a net of 370 compared to 285. Suspensions, pretty much right on the number at 648 compared to 647. We'll probably finish the year 2023 somewhere around 39,300 members. So we still got a little bit of work to do on raising new Master Masons. We still have one-day classes coming up in March and February, February 28th, 24th in Hillsborough Lodge in Hillsborough, March 16th at Falls Lodge in Clarksville, Tippecanoe Lodge up in Dayton, Indiana, Northwest Indiana with a location to be determined, Mizpah Shrine in Fort Wayne, and then right here in the Valley of Indianapolis. The 2023 Grand Masters Award is going to be based upon the number of new Master Masons raised from January 1, 2023 to March 31, 2024. So new Master Mason or new Worshipful Masters that are here, you still have an opportunity to help your predecessor and your lodge to be able to reach and become that and get a Grand Master's Award. Our second goal was related to new member proficiency. Our new members are joining the fraternity for friendship, personal growth, search for light, community involvement. In none of those things does it say that they're coming in to become ritualists or to join a memorization club. So we need to work with them and let's bring them along. The quicker we can bring them in, the quicker they can help your lodge continue to grow. Our third goal was related to onboarding of new members, bringing those new members in, keeping them engaged, engaging them, continue to engage with your community, re-engage with the members that have fallen away, and continue to practice the art of Freemasonry. So those are our goals for this year. There are some interesting presentations coming up today. I hope you enjoy the day. I want to thank you for being here to view the presentations. I want to thank those who have are watching on our streaming, and appreciate you being here as well. One additional or final announcement for those lodges that have not received their new photograph of Compass Park. They do have them upstairs on the mezzanine level, so please stop by and pick them up during the break. And with that, brethren, I hope you have a great day, and thank you very much for allowing me to be here and speak to you. Thank you. Now turn the program over to the Deputy Grand Master.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for tackling the weather to come out this morning. As I said, this is a challenge every year, early January, to come out to Founders Day. I like to say, go forth and bring the light. In Genesis, we find these words. And God saw the light, and it was good. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to an exciting 2024 in Freemasonry in Indiana. For 206 years, Freemasonry has been alive and well. We went through a lot of societal changes during that time, but Indiana Freemasonry still survives. And I think about that 206 years ago, I drove over here in my semi-warm car with my heated seats. I didn't travel 3 days on horseback to get here. So when I complain, I'm a bit of a whiner, I guess. Our founding fathers, they met there in Madison, Indiana on that cold January 12th day in 1818, and they could not have imagined the world in which we live in today. Historically, Freemasonry has never been immune to societal changes. Hundreds of years ago, we went from operative Masons to speculative. When we were about 10 years old in Indiana, we went through something called the anti-Masonic movement. Masonry suffered losses like never seen before. Then the Gilded Age came, the early 1900s, the wars, I and II. And after World War II, there was such a joining of organizations like never before. All organizations, plus our fraternity, swelled. Again, societal changes. Recently, much of the national news has been centered around inflation and recession. Well, we know inflation is here, and the discussion is about when will the economic recession hit us. I want to submit to you this morning that we are already in a recession. It's a recession that is affecting we Americans. It is affecting Masons. It's affecting our families, our youth. And this recession is called a social recession. Hey, Dave, you're making this stuff up, right? A social recession is a decline in bonding and a decline in general well-being among members of a community as a result of reduced personal interactions. Does that sound familiar? We saw the skit that outlined, we're coming out of COVID, when people were inside, not able to meet with one another. A few studies recently have looked at this thing called social recession. Since the 1950s, there has been a decline in overall sociability. And you look at the different things that have happened in our society, starting with the upheaval. We had a president killed in 1963. The Vietnam War. We were in a war that wasn't even called a war, except they named it a Cold War. And then we get to 2000s, and suddenly we're taken over by this thing called technology. Isn't it wonderful? Michael, you should nod your head on that. But I tell you, since 2000, decline of sociability has only grown worse. The world of the 1950s is gone and is never returning. Next slide. Another study that has shown, especially with millennials, this sad fact here. When interviewed, 22% said they have 0 friends. 30% said they have no best friends at all. This is social recession. So what are Americans doing now? Well, some are browsing. All right? If you don't believe me, take a look at your screen time. The average browsing time right now is about 7 hours. Okay, let me get the math right. I have 8 hours for service to God and my distress-worthy brethren. I have 8 hours for my usual vocation, and I have 8 hours for refreshment and sleep. Well, I'm doing 7 hours of browsing, so I'm eating into one of those 3, aren't I? And I have a confession to make. Your deputy grand master has a mistress. Her name is Siri. She wakes me up every morning. She tells me when to go to bed. She helps me with my calendar. She helps me send emails and texts to all of you. And worst of all, I've even taken her to bed sometimes. However, I have good news. Freemasonry is well positioned and uniquely qualified to address this thing called social recession. You and I have a decision to make. We can become a drone in the hive of technology and a useless member of society, or we can go forth and be the light. What does that mean? 2 things. I can be the light within my lodge. I can be an encourager in my lodge. How often do we as Masons get together and you hear one Mason tear another Mason down? That's not what we're supposed to do, brothers. We're supposed to be encouragers. Build up the craft. What other things can we do within our lodge? We can look at what's going on with our brothers that are not showing up. Why are they not there? Are they sick? Do they have issues at home? Are there financial issues? How about our widows? Are we checking on them? Do we send them cards? A plant? And how about the ones that least can defend themselves? Our kids. Sometimes we get isolated. As we saw in the skit on the stage, we get caught up in our own Masonic world and we forget what's going on around us. Next slide. Oh, go back. The number 2, without and outside of our lodge, we must work in our local community to promote Freemasonry in the workplace, at play, at recreation, working alongside other charitable organizations. We can join others and work with them. Identify ourselves as Freemasons with what we wear. We can be proud to be a Freemason, right, Carl? I want to make sure Carl wasn't asleep. Yeah, I'm proud to be a Freemason, that's right. So those are ways we can identify ourselves. Freemasonry is uniquely positioned to address this gap of social recession. I want to read something from our Indiana Monitor, a couple of things here. You and I as Freemasons stand in the northeast corner of today's society. And I can read from the Monitor because you that are not Masons, it's public information, right, Michael? Page 136 from the Monitor says, let us begin at the northeast corner. The first stone of a building is placed in the northeast corner because that is the beginning. The line where darkness, the north, ends, and the light, east, begins. We're right now at the northeast corner of society. That's Freemasons. Page 141, in climbing the stairs of life, we are dependent on the assistance of others. We should therefore reciprocate by giving them assistance. Our labor should tend to advance society. We are to work for the good of mankind, not for ourselves alone, individual or local lodge. Page 135 from the Monitor. Oh, by the way, the Monitor, if you look on the front of that thing, it says Monitor and Freemason's Guide. Sometimes we shorten it to just Monitor. The science is no avail unless it leads to the practice of the art. And though we should possess all knowledge and be able in beautiful and sublime language to utter thoughts that arise in us as we contemplate the glorious work of our order, it profits us nothing. It is not by intellectual attainment or oral expression that we become Masons, but by the way in which we acquire the science and couple it with the art of temple building and practice in it our everyday association with our fellow men. No degree of Masonry is of any avail unless it bears fruit. What fruit would we bear if we didn't have excuses, either individually or within our local lodge? Excuses like, Brother Dave, we're just a small lodge. What can we do? You know, since COVID, our guys are not coming back. And then there's the one, we just don't know what to do. Our brothers are getting old. You want them not to get old? We barely have enough money to keep the lights on. I wish we could do something for our community. Last slide. Listen, brothers, you and I, our lives, are the only advertisement that our community is going to see about Freemasonry. Our time has come. The time is now. We have much to offer when addressing this issue called social recession. Men are hurting. What will you and I do? That question was asked from this podium after the skit this morning. The choice is to be the light will not be made by your local lodge. That choice will not be made by your Grand Lodge. It's a personal choice, a personal decision to you and I to be that light with our brothers inside the lodge and the community at large outside the lodge. And with those outside, they're looking to us. They're looking for someone that they can call friend and brother. Go forth and be the light. Thank you, brothers. Lights down, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia, the Grand Worthy Advisor of Indiana Rainbow.
I'm Owen, and I'm the State Master Counselor of Indiana DeMolay.
And I'm Annabelle, the Miss Indiana Jones daughter. We represent the 3 Masonic youth groups in Indiana.
While you all may know what the youth groups are about, you may not know what we can do to help each other.
One organization cannot grow without the others. We need the adults to support us both financially and by being present, as well as bringing in their children, grandchildren, and other family members.
In return, our members learn from you and become members of your organizations when they get older.
We would like to thank you for your support over the years and look forward to our continued partnership. Together, we can make each other stronger.
Our Masonic connections are what make us family, and together we can do great things. We hope to see you soon in your local chapter, Bethel, or assembly. And if you don't have one near you, please contact us about starting one.
If there is anything the youth groups can do to support the other Masonic bodies, please let us know. We'll see you soon. Youth groups can do to support the other Masonic bodies, please let us know. We'll see you soon.
We would like to take an opportunity to thank last year's youth group officers for putting together that wonderful video, and also for Brother Brandon Schultz in certainly assisting them in that effort. So great job. At this time, we'd like to bring up the youth officers. If you will come down. We have Job's Daughters, Rainbow Girls, and Dee Malay. So we'll bring them to the podium. And these are this year's officers, and we're honored that they saw fit to be able to come and share with us this morning. So I'll let the ladies talk first. First this morning, it is my privilege and honor to be able to introduce to you Miss Indiana Job's daughter, Keely Rowe.
Grandmaster, Deputy Grandmaster, officers, members, and guests, good morning. Good morning. I bring you greetings on behalf of Indiana Job's Daughters. My name is Keely Rowe, and I'm your Miss Indiana Job's Daughter. 4 years ago today, on Founders Day in 2020, I was here representing the order as Junior Miss Indiana. We had a table set up promoting Job's Daughters, and sometime throughout the day, a few Masons approached us and asked about our organization. After hearing our message, they immediately knew that Job's Daughters was exactly what their community needed. Those men were from Bristol, Indiana. Unfortunately, there was no Bethel in their area, and the closest one was over an hour away. But they still believed that our organization was what their community needed. So they asked, can we start a Bethel at our lodge? In April of 2022, after being forcefully put on hold for over 2 years, and after several lodges and Eastern Star chapters worked together, we instituted Bethel 135 at George Washington Masonic Lodge, number 325 in Bristol, the first new Bethel in Indiana in over 30 years. All because they asked us and took personal initiative to make an impact on the youth in their community. I know it's been 4 years, but I want to especially thank Ron Ross, David Daniels, Kenneth Story, and Joe Livings and Jason Oval for making such an impact on the youth in their community. It's inspiring to hear what our Masonic brothers and sisters are doing in Bristol. So I want to tell you why Job's Daughters and all 3 of our Masonic youth organizations are exactly what your community needs too. First, Masonry will make a tremendous impact on the youth. The purpose of our Masonic organizations, our Masonic youth organizations, is to instill the Masonic ideals in the citizens of tomorrow. The founder of Job's Daughters, Ethel T. Weed Mick, stated that the children of today will be the citizens of tomorrow. Our yesterdays and todays are the blocks upon which we build. The Masonic ideals of brotherly love, relief, and truth are necessary to the youth of today. We heard from our Deputy Grand Master about the problem we have with not being able to connect with each other, our social recession. And the purpose of our Masonic youth organizations is to provide that community for us to have sociability. And these are ideals which create morally upright citizens who care about the world around them. Our members are at the perfect age to learn these lessons, which they will remember forever. We are able to provide a secure and loving environment for these adolescents to become the best version of themselves. Additionally, our organizations strive to teach personal development that goes far beyond morals and righteousness. Leadership skills, public speaking, self-confidence, charitable service, respect for parents, reverence for God, and patriotism, just to name a few. Higher learning institutions and employers across the country are looking for young adults who possess these qualities and these characteristics. And our program works. We have majority members who have gone on to become successful citizens as lawyers, doctors, teachers, engineers, first responders, and that is what our founder wanted. She stressed the importance of education in young women, even back in the 1920s. She went to medical school. Because of this emphasis, the format in which adolescents learn these lessons is just as important as the content. Nowadays, there are so many opportunities for youth to be involved in, which is outstanding. From clubs to sports to performing arts, the youth of today are as busy as ever. I'm sure if you have kids, you understand this. And our members have lives outside of Job's Daughters, just as you have a career, a family, and hobbies outside of your Masonic obligations. I have been involved in many clubs and organizations, but the lessons and skills I learned in Job's Daughters enhanced my life in a way unlike any other organization. When I meet another member of Job's Daughters, we already have an unspoken connection with each other that far outweighs any differences we may have. That is the appeal of fraternal organizations. We come together with a common bond. We've all made the same obligation at the holy altar before God. We come together in fellowship, devotion, and improvement. Our founder, Mother Mick, stated that there is nothing more fitting to young women than the beautiful sentiment expressed in the book of Job as unfolded by lectures, symbols, and songs. The ritualistic work of our organizations and the methodology upon which we are all founded is what makes us characteristically different from all other opportunities that our communities offer. That is exactly why I decided to join the Order of the Eastern Star on my 18th birthday, to learn new lessons and build upon my Masonic heritage. I think we would all agree that the lessons we learn through degree work and memorization stay with us throughout our entire lives. In times of trouble or misfortune, we may silently recite the lines we hold dear, providing comfort. When parenting children or consoling a friend, we may remember the lessons we learn about peace, humility, and compassion. That is why our organizations are the perfect place for adolescents to grow and learn the life lessons necessary to be an outstanding citizen. But we need your help in order to continue our work and spread our messages to the youth of Indiana. You are the quality of people in which our youth need to meet. You are loving, kind, service-oriented, morally upright, and deeply devoted to your faith convictions. You are our mentors without even realizing it, and we need mentors like you. When we work together and learn from each other, we are stronger for ourselves, for our organizations, and for our communities. Our Masonic family isn't complete without the youth. I want to personally thank you for all the support you have already given us, whether you volunteer in our organizations already, are a past member, or have given to us financially. Thank you. I encourage you to continue supporting our endeavors. Become an advisor, attend our events or meetings, encourage your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, family, friends to join us in fellowship. Please speak with us if you want to learn more about Job's Daughters and how you can support the young women in your community. Again, thank you for allowing me to address you this morning, and I wish you a blessed day for your Founders Day celebrations.
Thank you very much, Keely. At this time, Rainbow Girls representative, Sophia Myers. Sophia?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia Myers, and I am the Grand Worthy Advisor of Indiana Rainbow. I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm honored to speak on behalf of Indiana Rainbow on what it means to be the light. Being the light means something different to each person. To fully convey what this means, I asked my fellow grant officers and Rainbow Girls what they personally believe it means to be a light in someone's life. And here's what they said. What I think it means to be the light is to be a person that people can look up to. It can be when they are in a place of darkness, or it can be when they just need something to boost their happiness. Either way, being the light to me is when you're the person people can look to help them through anything. Being the light is being someone others can depend on. To lighten the burden of work or offer a joke, a light has the quality to brighten someone's day. By being the light, you radiate positivity, hope, guidance, or you can inspire others. When being a light, you make the lives of those around you brighter and happier. I think being a light means being there when people need you, like the human embodiment of the North Star. Being the light means to go through your days with the goal of spreading joy, comfort, and trust by personifying those goals and making them who you are. Being the light means to be the person you want to see in the world. Choose kindness and happiness even in the face of something difficult. Love endlessly and without fault. Be the light of those who can't quite be the light for themselves yet. Every single day, we have the option of being the light in someone's life. The big things, even the little things, can make a difference in the life of someone new. In our Masonic family, we can use the values we teach and bring them out into the world to be the light in our orders and make a change. In each of our orders, we have valuable lessons that we can utilize in everyday life. In our rainbow lessons, one of the greatest lessons we teach is the act of service. Notably so, our lesson of service teaches us that there are people in the world who need our help. There are girls and young women who need our help, and we are taught to live each day helping those around us. One of the best things we can be in this world is to be a friend. As the girls were telling me what they believe it means to be the light, the common response that I noticed was that it was the characteristics of what a good friend should be. Being there for someone in need, making someone who is feeling down feel better, giving comfort to those who need it, and maybe even those who don't need it, being kind to others when they haven't been kind to you, being the person that helps in times of trouble. Being the light in a person's life is being a friend. In the song, Be a Light, the line that is repeated throughout says, in a world full of hate, be a light. It isn't just about being a light in good times, but also in bad times. We live in a world that has so much hate that giving a smile or helping someone can be seen as rare, but will always be remembered. Giving acts of kindness is being the light. We have the choice of being the light in people's life every day. I would like to thank you all for listening and for your support to Indiana Rainbow. With the few minutes that I have left, I would like to talk a little bit about what Indiana Rainbow has been up to and some upcoming events that we would like to invite you to. For my term, we are doing a project called the HTC Maintenance Fund. The HTC Lodge, also known as the Rainbow Girls Camp in Edinburgh, Indiana, is the main meeting place for Indiana Rainbow Girls, and it is also a meeting place for other Masonic bodies. For this project, the money that is raised will be put into this fund, and it will help with any further necessary improvements that the HTC Lodge may need. Assemblies are also raising money through fundraisers, bake sales, or anything they can think of to earn the money for the Supreme Challenge, which will help send Indiana Rainbow Girls to Supreme Assembly in July. We are also still collecting pop tabs for the Ronald McDonald House, which allows families to be near their children during their stay at Riley's Children's Hospital. As for events coming up, our annual statewide picnic is on June 30th. Anyone from the Masonic family can come, their families, friends, and prospective members can come as well, and it's a great opportunity to get to know everyone. Our Grand Assembly is also from July 11th through the 13th at the Seasons Convention Center in Nashville, Indiana, and we would love for you all to join us during that time as well. Thank you again, and good morning.
Thank you, Sophia. Very nice. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you the Grand Master Counselor of Indiana DeMolay, Owen Vermeulen.
Thank you, Dad Morgan. And fantastic talk, by the way. That was an amazing talk. I really enjoyed it. Real quick, I've been accused of many things, but a K9 is not one of them. But I do have to shout out Dad Randall Werrick. a past master of my sponsoring body over in Speedway, and Dad Brian Figueredo, the current master of my sponsoring body. So I just wanted to give 2 quick shout-outs right there. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of you, not just for allowing me to speak today, which I'm grateful for, but for all that you do for us. We wouldn't be able to do what we do in DMLA across Indiana without your support. Now, the last time I had the privilege of addressing this group in this building was at annual communications back in May. And if you'll recall, I advised that Dad Tom Fallis, executive director of this building, and at the time my executive officer, was fine with everyone taking home any paintings, sculptures, or furniture that they really liked from the building. Well, I'm here to say that I was wrong to say that. I had a long talk with Dad Fallis prior to today, and he set me straight. He said that instead of souvenirs from the building, he had a crisp $100 bill for each of you today. So please, throughout the day, find Dad Tom Fallis and ask him for yours. Seriously, though, days like today are amazingly important. Not just because they offer us a chance to see brothers from around the state, but because of the proximity of Founders Day to the turn of a new year, it offers us a chance to reflect upon the challenges and success of the previous year and plan for even greater progress in the year to come. In keeping with that, Indiana DMLA's Grant Hamill Foundation has just rolled out new chapter support programs in 2024 designed to spur greater growth for DMLA in Indiana. In 2024, a lifetime DMLA membership in Indiana will only cost a young man $10. So now is a great time to direct your son, nephew, grandson, or neighbor our way. In 2024, we are beefing up our budget and the fund for our annual conclave to be held June 27th through the 30th at Wabash College in Crawfordsville. So now is a great time to plan to join us and help make sure that a young man who you know gets a chance to join us for this weekend of brotherhood. In 2024, we are matching our chapter's fundraising efforts dollar for dollar. So now is a great time to support your local chapter's chili supper, car wash, candy sale, or breakfast. And in 2024, we are offering new financial support to any Masonic group that becomes the sponsoring body of our new DMLA chapter. So now is a great time to bring DMLA back to your lodge so that you can help instill Masonic values in the youth of your community. These initiatives are designed to be a meaningful investment in DMLA, just as DMLA is an investment in the youth of today and the future of Masonry. To me, DMLA and the Masonic family are incredibly important. For those of you that don't know, my father and both of my brothers were in DMLA and are all now Masons. And come June 1st, when I turn 18, I will be petitioning to join Blue Lodge alongside them. Although I might need a few of you to put in a good word for me. Grease the wheels a little bit. I heard that. All right. You know, the past couple months, I've been doing a lot of college applications, and it's funny because it can sometimes take something as mundane as filling out an application to remind us what's really important to us. When I needed a letter of recommendation, every person I asked, except for one, was a Mason. They asked me, what was I other than just a student? And all I could think about was DMLA. Heck, the first line of my college application essay was, I am a DMLA. My point in saying all this is there's inspiration to be found if we just seek it out. In days like today where motivation is everywhere you look, we should use it to reinvigorate ourselves to make this year even better than the last. Whether the rest of the world always realizes it or not, it needs the values of the Masonic family. We, the young men of DMLA, thank you for being the inspiration for the next generation of the Masonic family. And with your help, we can pick up the mantle and translate your lessons into a future that we can all be proud of. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Let's give our youth another hand. That was great. We are well represented by our youth in Masonic. At this time, in continuing to commemorate Founders Day, it's only appropriate that we begin discussion about the Schofield House down in Madison, Indiana. And to continue that discussion is our very own Grand Marshal this year, David Westmeyer. Brother David.
Good morning, brothers, and thank you for coming out today and weathering the weather, if you will. The same thing that our intrepid founders did a little over 200 years ago. You have to wonder what was going through their mind to do such a thing. But certainly, and it seems to be a tradition now that we're going to experience the same weather that they'd had back then. Pastor Grand Master Danny Martin whispered to me on the way up, and I have to thank him for that. Semper Fi. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a retired Marine, and that means a lot getting up here and having a little bit more confidence in what I'm presenting here. I am substituting for Dion Dykus, who's currently the Worshipful Master of Schofield 1818. The weather has prevented him from coming down today. And I will tell you that the Schofield 1818, the primary purpose of that lodge is the fundraising arm for the Heritage Foundation. And just like any old building of that nature, it is in constant need of maintenance and upkeep, repair, and replacement. And we just recently found out that we're going to have to replace our heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. It's over 23 years old, and it's going to run about $8,000. So those are the kinds of things that is ongoing for Schofield House. And as most of you know, maintaining any kind of a house is an ongoing maintenance nightmare sometimes, and we're still getting into some things that need to be corrected and updated and modernized for Schofield. The Grand Lodge of Indiana is very unique. If some of you managed to read an article in the Freemason magazine a couple of issues ago, Indiana, out of the first 19 states of this union, the Grand Lodge of Indiana is the only lodge that has ownership of where it was founded. And in fact, most of the other 18 states, that building no longer exists. And for those, there was one state that did, I believe it was Connecticut. It now belongs to another historical society that their Grand Lodge has indeed jumped in and helped them to restore that facility, but it does not belong to the Grand Lodge of Connecticut. So going forward, most of you that came in today, we handed out cards to give you some history, which is duplicated up here on the screen. And also on the back of that card is a QR code. For those of you who want to take a shot of that with your camera, it'll take you right to the membership page for you to join. And if you want to snap that while it's up on the screen, it's the same thing. The $100 is the initial membership fee, if you will, for Schofield. Each subsequent year is $65, and that is not a required payment every year. The Heritage Foundation is a 501c3 organization. It's charitable, it's tax deductible according to your situation. And we will send out some renewal notices, but it is not a requirement that you maintain membership every year, although we would like you to. Initial application or initial membership, as I said, it was $100, and each subsequent is $65. All that money goes into the Heritage Foundation, which, as I said, supports the maintenance and upkeep of Schofield House. This year, or every year, we have the candlelight tours at Schofield. I think, is there another slide up that goes into a little bit more? Or is that it, Dave? Okay, all right, that's fine. Every year, the city of Madison has a candlelight tour of historic homes, and Schofield House has been one of the highlights of that tour. And we also encourage and have had tremendous support from the local lodges down in the southeast, from some from once in a while just individual brothers will come down. The past couple of years, the Deputy Grand Master has been in attendance for that, and in fact we dressed it up a couple of times. Last year we were in tuxes, or 2 years ago in tuxes. He was coming from an event, and so he set the bar up pretty high. And this year we were even in top hats. So we try to dress that up a little bit. The brothers that support that, and sometimes we'll get an entire lodge to support that, acting as docents for the 6 rooms that are in Schofield House to give several hundred people in the course of 4 days, 2 days at the end of November and 2 days at the 1st of December that come through. And almost everyone that comes through just remarks on how well Schofield House is presented. It's a great opportunity. We encourage the brothers when they're in attendance to wear the Masonic aprons and hopefully initiate the conversation about our fraternity and promote the fraternity. Lodges are encouraged to coordinate with Bill Lane, our resident docent, to schedule either an entered apprentice or preferably a fellowcraft degree there in the lodge room at Schofield. The lodge room itself is not quite big enough to be able to accommodate a Master Mason degree, but we certainly encourage those lodges to come down and participate or take advantage of that opportunity. And I will tell you, those lodges that have done so have commented on not only how rewarding it is for their lodge to be able to do a degree work in that particular lodge room, but also how rewarding it is for the candidate to accomplish that degree at the birthplace of the Grand Lodge of Indiana. So if you would, I would appreciate your consideration in supporting this organization. We are continue to be in need of more repairs. What I mentioned about the HVAC system is just the tip of the iceberg. We need to repaint the building. We've had ongoing issues with some other things that need to be addressed. So it's an ongoing concern, and I certainly appreciate your support and encourage you to come down and visit, either on your own or bring your lodge down and either just go through a tour or complete a degree there for somebody. Thank you very much for your time, brothers. And I am introducing, there we go, Steve Bates, our Senior Grand Deacon, and Mike Pettigrew for the Lodge Liaison Committee.
Good morning, brother. First of all, I want to just tell you how we're organized in the Lodge Liaisons. So we have 10 districts here in Indiana, and we do still have the 10 ritual instructors, which report to Denny Davis, our Grand Lecturer. And within the districts now, we have combined the membership and the education committees to one person. So each lodge is assigned a liaison and go out and help and support the lodges. And they are the eyes and ears of the Grand Lodge. We do have, because there's over nearly 400 lodges here in the state of Indiana and 6 Grand Lodge officers in the progressive line. We can't be everywhere. So it's a vital role that really helps, and they report into the portal, and we can see what's going on with different lodges in the state. If they need some help, we're there to assist. But it's an important role, and what I'd like to do is turn it over to Mike Pettigrew, who's one of our senior lodge liaisons, to tell you exactly what a lodge liaison does from actual experience.
Good morning. When I was asked to make some remarks, I wrote some things down, and actually I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to speak off the cuff because I actually do better that way. Besides, I was told to keep it short. So you're sort of getting the long and the short of it. Who are these liaison people, and what do they do? Well, as was mentioned, previous to this, we've had each district had a lodge instructor, ritual instructor, and had a liaison for education and a liaison for membership. Those have now been combined to what we now call lodge liaisons. So the lodges have now had their installations, so I'm sort of speaking now to the new worshipful masters, or if you are a past master that are serving your lodge again, I encourage you to go to the lodge portal, and if you look down the left side of it, down below where the lodge directory is, your lodge officer directory, you will see the lodge liaison and the ritual instructor that are assigned to your lodge. I encourage you to meet those people, and because they are there to help you. I want to mention one thing about the lodge ritual instructors. They will not be doing the traditional lodge of instructions this year's like they have in the past, and there's been some confusion about that, because I'm told that some of the lodge instructors have been getting calls about when they're going to schedule those. So they will not be doing that. Rather, they will be hosting in their district 3 or 4 workshops. So just want to make that clear. They will not be holding the traditional lodge of instruction as they have done in the past. And again, I want to encourage the worshipful masters to reach out to the lodge liaison people, because they are there to help you. They're not there to criticize, and they're not there to evaluate. They're there just to help your lodge function. Now, what in the world is that? Is that the wind? Anyway, if the worshipful masters are in need of some assistance, whether it be with education or with membership, and all lodges need some assistance in membership. But contact your lodge liaison, and they can get with you and help you. With that, I think I'll probably just relinquish the balance of my time, if that's fine.
Thank you very much, Mike. If you do have an interest in becoming a lodge liaison, please see one of us today, or you can contact the Grand Lodge office, and we will find out what district you have to be located and have somebody contact you, because we're always looking for additional brothers to be out there and help. And it's a great activity, like Mike described, to meet a lot different brothers, not just in your own lodge, but to get out to different lodges and visit. So again, if you're interested, contact one of us. With that, I will introduce the grand photographer, Derek Sterneman, to talk about internet inquiries.
Good morning, brethren.
I'll tell you what, I'm super excited to see so many of you brave this weather, as so many others have said already. This is really nice. Let's paint a little scenario here. Quite often, we still have internet inquiries that are referred to lodges that they do not act on because they don't have a top-line signer, they don't have somebody that knows the brother, and a myriad of other reasons. Let's paint a little picture to go along with that. And I'm not expecting any answers, no raised hands, nothing like that. But if you run into a guy at, let's say, Kroger one night, and he happens to see, like the gorgeous jacket my better half just bought me for Christmas, Masonic emblem on it, and he asks you about it. And you enter into a brief conversation, and you've never met this guy before. Would you consider asking him to come by the lodge and visit and see what he thought of it? And I'm sure there's not a man amongst us that would say no. So once he did get there and visit, I'm sure whoever was there would ask him, come in and have some dinner with us or play some cards with us, whatever was going on at the lodge at that time. And once again, I'm not sure there's not a man amongst us to say, no, we aren't interested. And then if he decided, well, you know, I'd really like to see what this whole lodge building looks like and what you guys actually do. And I'm sure that some brother at the, whatever you guys are doing, dinner or cards or just to get together, would say, well, come on, let me go show you the lodge room. And after that, he might say, well, you know, I think I'm really kind of interested in this. I think I'd really like to join this organization. How would I proceed? Would somebody say at that point, I'm sorry, but we don't know you. And we don't have anybody here that could be a first-line signer for your petition because they didn't refer you. I'm sure that would not happen. So let's think about this for a second. A guy sitting at a computer at night, and don't get me wrong, we get some weird ones too. But a guy sitting at a computer at night knocks on our door electronically, says, I would like to join your organization. And he fills out a petition on the computer electronically. And that gets referred on. And it gets to the lodge, and the lodge should then respond as soon as possible to this individual and welcome him with open arms to become a member. Because this is no different than a stranger coming up to us in an unknown location, state fair, auto show, Christmas show, whatever the case may be, and asking us about our great fraternity. And with that in mind, we should not put this man down for not knowing him, for not having a personal relative or friend in the lodge, but welcome him with open arms. That is what our investigation committees are for, gentlemen. Don't be wrong, our guys in the committees, Mike being one of them, do an excellent job of pre-screening this guy. Now, don't be wrong, we still get some weird ones that slip through. It just happens, it's part of nature. But they do some wonderful screening. Sometimes we contact these guys up to 10 times. And it's a no response 3 times rule that we have. If we can't get hold of them 3 times, then we move on. And Mike just intimated a story to me just this morning of a guy just a year ago that he had kind of written off because he tried to contact him, no such luck. A year later now, the guy has recontacted him. Now, unfortunately, Mike can't get hold of him again, but it does happen that sometimes a year, sometimes 2 years down the road, if we try to stay in contact with these guys, that they will come back and contact us to be members. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. If a guy is sent to a lodge, which we don't, I guess we ought to back up a hair. We don't really send him to a lodge unless he requests, just find me the lodge closest to my home. We refer him to the lodge of his choice. This is their journey, it's not our journey. So don't get mistaken, just because you see some guy in Brownsburg, or 3 guys in Brownsburg, I can tell you a personal story. 3 guys in Brownsburg that wanted to be Masons, none of the 3 of them wanted to belong to the closest lodge, they all wanted to belong to 3 different lodges. So there's not always any rhyme or reason when you see some writing in the database or anything else. This is their personal journey, it's their personal goal in life, where they want to go, what they want to do. But once they get to the lodge, and they come in, after they've been referred to them, do you think it would be really welcoming for 3 or 4 guys to be sitting there and say, oh yeah, come on in? Or you think it'd be really welcoming for a guy to get up and actually go to the door and open the door, welcome him with open arms, shake his hand, say, yeah, my name's Derek, who are you? What can we do for you? You know, we understand you're interested in Freemasonry. What can we tell you? Would you like to sit down and have some dinner with us tonight? Basically all the same scenario, just a different way of getting to that end point. One is knocking on our front door, or just walking in. We've had that happen at our lodge. Or just walking in and then going through the whole process. Gentlemen, we're losing out on numerous guys that are interested in our fraternity by not pursuing them in the right way and by not following up with them in the right way. And I can't emphasize the latter part enough, because not only are our current members important, but the new members are just as important too. So it's important we welcome them with open arms and congeniality and friendship and brotherly love to let them know what we're about. We should be proud in our fraternity. We shouldn't hide behind anything. We should be proud in it. So with that in mind, enjoy. I would say go forth and do good work, but I won't. I don't have a clue who I'm supposed to introduce. Looks like possibly Rick Elman, past Grand Master Secretary.
Can you hear me now? I can go up to the, there we go. All right. Wow, great to see you all today here. You know, just what Derek works on and what his committee works on is so important to Freemasonry, to help fulfill, you know, the Grand Master's objectives this year, to help fulfill the needs of this fraternity. You don't have to read that petition the first day you get it. You can continue to invite that guy to your lodge, get to know him, and then make sure that it's a good fit for both you and for him. As we've said so many times, there's 345 lodges in the state of Indiana. Certainly, there's got to be one that fits that person who's wanting to be part of who we are. So please, continue to look at it from that perspective, because that's what's important to help fulfill the needs of what you need in your lodges and what Freemasonry needs in this state and across the country. So I got up a little bit ago and I went to find Tom Fallis, because I wanted to be the first one to get my $100 bill. Now, it was a little tough to find him, but I did finally find him. And I said, Tom, I want that $100 bill. So he reaches out and he hands me this. And I go, Tom, that's not a $100 bill. That's just 20. He goes, yeah, inflation. So I look at it a little more and I'm going, that's your picture on it. I said, come on, what's going on? He said, well, I'll give you a real one if you promise not to tell anybody which bathroom I'm in. The men's bathroom. So I want to let you know, anybody that that needs anything, that supplies. Stephanie Graves is in our office today until 3 o'clock, so you can go there and you can pick up any supplies that you might need while you're here. So, and go say hi to Stephanie. For those of you that talk to Stephanie, I hope you can get away and that she doesn't talk your ear off. So, but she will do that. So again, you can do that. If any of you have any extra meal tickets that you're not going to use, or any of you need an extra meal ticket or need one that you didn't get one, you want to enjoy lunch with us today in the Seven Toasts along with our Grand Master, please check around because I'm sure there's a few available. So I see some guys nodding their heads, if you've got an extra ticket, stand up. If you've got an extra ticket, stand up. If anybody needs any tickets, these are the guys you see, just come see them. And here, I'll take those, Carl, and I guess we're going to have a few extras, so we'd love to have you join us for lunch today. Thank you. Thank you very much. The next thing I want to talk about is background checks. Background checks, our Grand Treasurer handles most of those through the lodge, but always remember that every petition needs to have a background check. We get a lot of calls in the office saying, this guy's transferring, this guy's doing this or doing that, but we always want to make sure that those background checks are taken care of. So it seems to be getting easier and easier now. At last count, Ken said we've had a rash of those come through, which means you're doing exactly what the Grand Master has asked you to do. So congratulations for that. Let's see, I think there was one more thing on my list here. If you're a new worshipful master, please stand up. Ooh, look at that. A brand new shiny crop. Wow. Hardly used. Worshipful Master, it's just as important for you, as well as your secretary and other officers, to get into the resources section and look through the information that's there. The fall information pack has all kinds of good information and dates and things that you can use. The Traveler's Journey has a ton of information that you can get together with your officers and help yourself and them plan for a most successful year going through this year and going into the future. Thank you, Worshipful Masters. Give them a big hand, please. You know what's great about today? I look out there and y'all have a smile on your face. That makes me feel so good. So now, I'm going to give you a chance to take a break. And we are going to be back here in about 15 minutes. So please, do whatever you need to do. Stretch your legs, use the restroom, get something to drink, and we will see you in 15. Thank you.
All right, brethren, welcome back. If you could get settled, we'll get back into the second half of a great Founders Day. And to talk about marketing, Grand Lodge, and local lodge marketing, it's my pleasure to introduce worshipful brother Andy Stevens, our Director of PR and Marketing. Andy, it's all you.
Thank you, Randy. So I had everything written out. I had a script. I gave it to the gentleman running the laptop. I was like, I'm ready to go. And then my wife woke up this morning, and one of the first things she uttered caused me to rewrite my entire presentation. Uh-oh. She woke up and she said, Andy, I came looking for you last night and you weren't there. And I'm like, you came looking for me and I was right there in bed next to you. And what flashed in my head was to say, I was right there, he just didn't look hard enough. I'm still standing here, so I know you know that I didn't say that. But I came looking for you and you weren't there. getting to build on the back of what Worship Brother Sternman was talking about with the Internet Inquiry Committee, I think that reigns very true about the work that we do in PR and marketing. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about what the role of marketing within a fraternity like this is, but I tell you there is a role for it. When I first started coming to Freemasonry, I wanted to be like my grandfather. My grandfather passed away before I had the opportunity to ask him to be a Mason. The first experience that I got to meet outside of how he handled himself as a man in public was with the gentleman that came and performed his funeral service. It's a very similar story. A lot of guys have a very similar path to Masonry that I did. But I came looking for Freemasonry and I couldn't find it. I went to lodges, they were closed. I didn't know when they met. I didn't know how to get in to where they were at. I came looking, but I couldn't find it. The combination of the role of the Internet Inquiry Committee with the role of the Marketing Committee is to help make sure that that gap is closed. People come to Masonry in all kinds of different ways, and we need to be ready to welcome them and extend a friendly grip before we extend a brotherly grip, right? So with that, I'm going to start by talking about how to make sure that friendly grip is continued to be extended with your current members. Then we're going to talk a little bit about how we use digital technology. We look at we call it a conversion funnel in marketing, to market to individuals and talk to individuals that are interested in the fraternity. So, one of the first things that I encourage everybody to do, and we have gotten rid, strategically removed the secretaries for this portion of the conversation, is we don't want to let them know that we know they're busy, right? That they have a lot of work. Does anybody's secretary need more work? Probably not. Yes? I'll let you go tell them. There's an opportunity for individuals in the lodge who are digital natives, individuals that have grown up touching digital technology, to start to help their secretary take some of the work of communications within the lodge off of their plate. This is a two-way street. Last night we were talking, just between brothers, we were talking a little bit, and this idea came up that individuals, we need to make sure that we focus on having one-on-one relationships with people again, right? This is an opportunity for your younger digital natives to have and build a relationship with usually one of the most esteemed members of a lodge and work together to achieve something great for that lodge. So what I'm recommending is that if you're a digital native, or if you're the master of a lodge, and you know somebody that's a digital native that you're trying to make sure that they stay within the body of your lodge, set up that mentorship relationship between them and the secretary and get them working to support lodge communications. We have an obligation to our members to do this. They pay dues. To me, it feels like a fiduciary responsibility to them because they're giving us their money. We need to make sure that we're communicating with them about what's going on. The next step is to make sure your lodge's information has been updated on the Grand Lodge website. So we went through a rebrand on the Grand Lodge website, the back end changed, and there is a way for officers to go in and manage the information themselves on their lodge's portal on the public-facing website on IndianaFreemasons.com. If you haven't gotten one of the emails, if you're a lodge officer and you haven't gotten one of the emails from me that walks through how to do that, please make sure your information's updated in the Grand Lodge database and that you have opted in emails. That information should come that way. So there are a couple other things that we can do, and these are all on inglmarketing.com. This is a website that I manage to help talk to individuals that are kind of in charge of marketing communications within a lodge, of how they can help communicate with members of their lodge. The newest post that I put up, so inglmarketing.com/blog is that website, was a post, and this was something I worked on. I'm the master of my lodge again this year, which is great because I get to see and remember what all the struggles are, right? So one of the first things I did was like, oh man, I've got to send a communication out to people. And my secretary is recovering from a heart attack. And I was in Virginia, and I'm like, wow, how can I do this? So I went on and I started trying to find a website that does direct mail. And I found a website, and there's a handful of them. The one that I used was a website called stamp.com, STANNP.com. And I was able to sit in there, and pretty quickly, I'm talking within the course of about 2 hours, I did all of this. I was able to create a postcard, put my lodge name on there, write my message, put my calendar on it, download my member information from the Grand Lodge portal, upload it to the website, schedule it, and send it off. I was like, man, that was easy. That didn't take that long, and that was a heck of a lot better than cutting my tongue up trying to lick stamps. No, we don't lick stamps anymore, do we? Lick envelopes. So with that, I was like, wait, I can send birthday cards out. My lodge hasn't sent birthday cards out in decades. So I made a new postcard up. It says on the front, happy birthday, brother, so-and-so. I was able to put their name on the colored print side. That was cool. And they're going to get that information now, hopefully the first week of the month of their birthday. And again, it took about 2 hours to do because we're using digital technology to do that. Does everybody need to know how to do that? No, but I can bet there's a digital native that you can find in your lodge that can help with that. This postcard costs 70 cents to print and ship. First class mail. This is one that had a bad address on it. I got it back. First class mail. You get the mail back if it goes bad, right? 70 cents. That's pretty cheap, really, when you're looking at cost to communicate with somebody using USPS. All right, so that's kind of the end of my spiel about communicating within the lodge. Now I want to start talking a little bit about what we're doing at the Grand Lodge level to make sure that we are directing those individuals looking for the fraternity to find the correct information about the fraternity. I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but sometimes you'll be out doing something and you're like, oh yeah, I need to do this. I need to remember to go buy milk. And if I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember to go buy milk. Sometimes I have to have a little reminder go off that says, oh yeah, you were going to go buy milk. Advertising is the same way. When we do advertising, we're trying to get individuals to remember that they wanted to do something. We're trying to recall an action that they had wanted to take on their own. When we use digital marketing and digital advertising, we're able to target individuals that we suspect have already had that thought. We can talk over dinner if you guys really want to get into the nuts and bolts of this. I do it all day. It's weird. But when you see these advertisements on Facebook or Reddit coming from the Grand Lodge of Indiana, these are our messages that are meant to remind people about that time that they were like, oh yeah, I want to learn more about what Freemasonry is. We call this top of the funnel work. This is work that the advertisement is attempting to do to get somebody that may have just a cursory knowledge of what the brand is, probably can't tell you what the brand values are, but trying to get them to learn more. So the goal is to get them to click, or we can advance. Or if they don't remember to click and they're like me and they don't use that button, to just go and do a search for Freemasonry. If you're in the state of Indiana and you type the word Freemasonry into your browser, and we weren't doing anything to help change this, the first post you get is from Mount Vernon. That's actually a better return than we've gotten before. We've gotten some very suspect ones before. Google's getting a little better with their algorithm, but at least this is like a legitimate source. It's not something questionable. But what we've found out is if we don't inject ourselves into the search results, you won't learn about the Grand Lodge of Indiana until spot number 87, the 8th page of Google's search returns. Nobody's looking on the 8th page of Google search returns. All right? And let me remind you, if you are a new individual to Freemasonry, you don't know to go look the Grand Lodge of Indiana, Free and Accepted Masons. That has no meaning to you. If you're a new member, it probably barely has any meaning to you. So what we have to do is we have to buy search terms. Go ahead. And when we buy search terms, so we buy the word Freemasons. Now, inside of our geo border, inside of the state of Indiana, when somebody types Freemasons in, look, we come up number 1 a good number of the time. That's important. That's not like, oh my gosh, we're trying to cram Freemasonry down people's throats. No, that's just making sure that when somebody comes looking for us, we're there. My wife had no clue what she said this morning, but it was very impactful. All right, we'll keep going. Once they click on the site and they go to our landing page, the first thing that they're going to see in the mobile device, and we look at mobile first now, right? When you're doing web design, you always look mobile first. We build off of the mobile device, and then we build to the desktop. So we're going to look at the mobile device, and the first things that they see, how to join frequently asked questions. This is a very curated journey that we walk them through. If they click on how to join, go ahead. They're going to land on a page that talks about our membership process. Go ahead. And when they spend about 15 seconds looking at this page, there's not a whole lot of copy on the page. 15 seconds feels like long. It says 25. I changed it. We do optimization. They'll get a very brief lead gen form. This is different than the lead generation form. Sorry. That's different than the lead gen form that they get that goes to Derek. When they fill this form out, this is going to start them on about a 1-month-long email journey. Go ahead. And this email journey is going to walk them through information about the fraternity to try to keep the fraternity top of mind. Does anybody remember from like your high school marketing class how many times you have to see a brand before it makes it into your memory? It used to be 7. Now they're saying it's closer to 14. So here's 6 plus 1, there's 7. So we're working towards good marketing principles, right? What's new with this, now when they fill that form out, they're also going to get text messages that go along with this. My open rate on the text messages are more than 50%, where they're only like 20 or 30% email. Email's kind of going away, right? It's so filled up with junk. Go ahead. The goal of this is to get them mentally and in a way that they're educated enough about what the brand means to click on a button that says ready to join. We want them to say ready to join. It doesn't say join now. There is no join now. Ready to join. When they click on ready to join, it goes to the longer page, and that page is what goes to Derek. Go ahead. So that's their signal to join. Go ahead and give me one more click. Now, that's where you guys come in, and you have to actually get them validated and through the Westgate. And as they start taking their degrees, and the secretary goes in and updates their information in the lodge, they're going to start getting informational packages about what Freemasonry is. This parallels the conversations you're already having in your lodge. This is not in it. This is not circumventing that. This is in parallel to the conversations you already have in lodge as you work to onboard or bring people into the fraternity. Go ahead. The goal of this is that by the time that man hits his Master Mason degree, that now we've not just made a new Master Mason, we've made a brand advocate. We've made somebody who's comfortable to go out and have those natural conversations that a lot of you have had with people to get new people to come into your lodge. Brother Fluff, I put him up here. It's a complex relationship with Brother Fluff, but he has 75,000 people that follow him on TikTok, and he talks about Freemasonry. Are his views letter perfect to every blue book and every ritual guide in all 50 states? Nope. I don't think any of us could do that. Nobody speaks for Freemasonry, right? We all speak for our own personal journey with Freemasonry, but nobody speaks for Freemasonry. 75,000 people have been followed him and get ongoing conversations about what Freemasonry is because he has become a brand advocate for the fraternity. This is what you see over on the left. That's the full marketing funnel. When you talk to me about what does marketing Freemasonry look like, that's it. It's not going out and shoving new Masons into the funnel. It's finding the individuals that want to opt in and making sure that if they come looking for us, they can find us. Thank you. And I am introducing Denny Davis. Denny. Denny Davis is currently serving as the Grand Lodge of Indiana's Grand Lecturer. Are you going up there?
Yeah, I'm going up.
All right.
All right. Good morning, brother. Glad to see a lot of the brothers down here account of the weather, especially the ones up north. I know we're getting hammered up there again, so I'll make this brief because we got a few more things that we got to do on this. I'd like to speak to you about a few items on Masonic ritual. Number one, we need to keep on promoting the goals of Grandmaster Brinley's agenda, and I'll break them down. Every Master Mason, we want to sign a petition to get new members in. That kind of self-explanatory there. Another one is ritual proficiency, requirements as written in the Blue Book 30.010. The requirements are a perfect knowledge of steps, due guards, signs, tokens, and words. Now this means that if a brother is struggling, can't learn, don't want to learn, don't want to be an officer, whatever the case may be, move him on. He's not going to be a lesser Mason than we are that are ritualists. He just wants to be in lodge and he wants to be a good Mason. Get him in there. Now, also lodge may require memorization of the Q&As, questions and answers, or as I stated, pitch and catch. Of each degree, lodges that do not require full memorization of catechism must provide mentoring program of each degree or the rusty nail mentoring degree. Now this I highly recommend, the one in the ritual book, every lodge at least once a year, and that's just in my opinion only. We do have a lot of workshops going on around the state right now, but the rusty nail is in your blue ritual, your purple ritual book that you have, and it's very, very good. One-day classes should be utilized for the candidates who have a need to participate in one, or don't want to be a ritualist or an officer, just a good participating member. Remember, just because he went through a one-day class doesn't mean that he's less a Mason than we are. Brothers will say, well, he doesn't learn anything. In my mind, if he doesn't learn anything, that's our fault for not mentoring to the fullest extent. We can't let these brothers fall once they get in. Keep them going, keep them hungry. Engage, re-engage, keep them hungry to learn. Have mentoring nights. Do or join in workshops that go around the state. Have one for EAs, fellow crafts, and Master Masons. In the past, we've never had workshops for the EAs or fellow crafts. It's always been the Master Masons or the Lodge of Instructions. Now, we have a Grand Master that approved that we can have EAs and fellow crafts in these workshops and keep it on the subject of the EAs, the fellow crafts, and the workshops. Because if we don't engage them, they might fall out by the time they become Master Masons. So keep them going. Finally, make sure you do your preliminary instructions. These are very important for the candidate. Also, you can get his family involved so they understand. Remember, do the degree work accordingly to how it's written. Preliminary instructions is very important. You can't imagine how many lodges that say, what's that? And you can actually tell when you go to a lodge on a degree if a new candidate hasn't had his preliminary instructions, just by the way they dress, by the way they act, or whatever the case may be. Get their families involved, because if their families are unaware of what he's getting into, they may not want him to go. You got to have support of your wives, your girlfriends, whoever it may be, to get them to come. Follow your rubrics. They are your guide. Do the degree and lectures for the candidate, not for yourself. We all want to be a good ritual, we do floor work and degrees. Then we need to do it by the book, not with the statement. This is how we do it. The way we do it is by the book. A lot of lodges has fallen off by that. Well, it sounds better this way. Well, we do it this way. Brethren, please get back to the basics. Ritual instructors, lodge liaisons, get to your assigned lodges. See what's going on. 3-4 meetings, visit, workshops around the state. Your liaisons, please put on the internet, make phone calls or whatever, what's going on so we can all join in. We need to get on the same page. The books. Make sure the liaisons, ritual instructions are doing the books. Even though there's no lodge of instructions, we still have to do the books. Keep the workshops going. Stated meeting visits are ongoing. Post them on the internet when you're having them. Communicate. Get involved. Get the lodges and brethren involved to make it enjoyable. Having said that, have a great New Year. If you need anything, please feel free to call me. If you can't get a hold of me, the Assistant Grand Lecturer, Dirk Rader, can assist you, or any other Grand Lodge officer. And having said that, please be safe on your way home because it's supposed to get worse than what it is. So thank you very much.
Okay, in this segment of the program, if the guys that are working on the next skit want to begin their setup, this setup will take just a couple minutes to do out here on the floor. I approached past Grand Master Roger Van Gordon and past Master Tyler Whitaker, and I gave them a sentence. And I said, I'm going to give you a sentence, and from this, I want you to use your imagination. Now, I know that's always dangerous working with Roger Van Gordon. But I said, you know, in the Old Testament, it talks about in the building of King Solomon's temple, the stones were quarried. And it said that they were quarried with such precision at the quarry that when it was brought to the place to assemble, there was not heard any sound of axe or hammer. And so I gave them this sentence to work from, and they're going to complete their setup here. And the sentence was this: have the stones left the quarry?
Thou, O God, knowest our downsittings and our uprisings, and understandest that our thoughts are afar off. Shield and defend us from the evil intentions of our enemies, and support us under the trials and afflictions we are destined to endure. Old Hiram, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing okay, young Hiram.
What are you doing there?
Well, trying to bust this stone apart.
Can I help?
I think it'd be good if you did help me. That's what we need is help around here. You know, I was thinking, Back in the day, this quarry was full of workmen. This quarry was full of workmen. Men working the craft. Men carving the stones for that magnificent cathedral that we've been working on. But I tell you, numbers seem to be getting fewer. Some people say that our craft is dying out.
I hear you, old Hiram. But think, we have a divine opportunity at hand. We could take these stones back out of the quarry and continue to build our great cathedrals. Then men of the city would see our work, and then they would likely want to join in our labors.
Young Hiram, so you're telling me that just by taking the stones back and working on that cathedral again, good men will want to be part of our craft? How do you know when they come in, all they're going to see is stones, old tools, old benches, and old men?
I think when they see our work, they will see our dedication to the fraternity, to each other, to our work, and they too will want to join in our labors to become better men.
Oh, young Hiram. I tell you, how do you know, young Hiram, that they come in? This cathedral that we have been building on for generations is a symbol of our traditions, a symbol of our ideals, a symbol of what we have taught. How do you know that these men that you claim are going to come in are not going to want to change those traditions, change those ideals that we have put into our labor on each stone of that edifice?
It's not about changing our tradition. It just simply needs to be changing our perception of how we labor and our visibility in the community. If good men from the city see our work, see the dedication, they too will want to join. It's simply how we practice the tenets of our order, not the traditions.
Well, maybe you're right, young Hiram. Maybe you're right. Maybe if we carry our stones out of the quarry and start working again on the edifice of that great cathedral, good men will see our work, and good men will want to take up our craft. And maybe this, young Hiram, maybe this, that by teaching them the secret of our art, they will become wiser, better, consequently happier. And maybe you're right, young Hiram. These men we bring in, we're not just bringing in extra hands. We're bringing in men to teach them a way of life. That by them becoming wiser, better, and consequently happier, then our community will become better.
Exactly. We're not just shaping stones, we're shaping the lives of our community with ourselves.
Well then, Hiram, young Hiram, then let's take this stone. Let's take this stone and take it out of this quarry and take it to that cathedral. And good men will see our work. And they'll want to take up the secrets of our art to become better men, happier men, more prosperous men.
from the quarries to our community.
For now, craftsmen returning, now, future generations, and even unto generations not yet born.
Freemasonry is as steadfast as our ancient landmarks and old charges. Yet, it is constantly evolving as it ebbs and flows in and out of society's perspective. Now is the time. As Master Masons, we are stewards of the living stone of our fraternity. The stone built on the tenets of our order of brotherly love, relief, and truth. Now is the time that we are to be the light. We must be the light in our homes, for our wives and for our children, that future generations might see what it is to be a Mason. In our businesses, that our customers might know the compassion of a brother. And in our lodges, that our brethren might join us in spreading the cement of brotherly love back into our communities. Be the light. As we live by Freemasonry, we grow because of it. Be the light.
Lights up, please. Thought they might need lights to get all of that down. Once again, let's give Tyler Whitaker, Roger Van Gordon, and the entire crew. We really appreciate that. That was simply amazing. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. At this time, I'd like to reintroduce our Master of Ceremonies, my good friend and brother, Paul Page.
You know what, once again, was that not magnificent? One more round. You know, we are directed to take care of our brothers, to make sure that if they have a problem, we are all there to help, to take care of their widows and their orphans. We all do that on an individual level, lodge level, and the Grand Lodge especially does some very specific things to follow that edict. The Indiana Masonic Home Foundation was established to raise, invest, and distribute charitable funds to follow our Masonic tenets of brotherly love, relief, and truth. We should all be proud of the extraordinary work the foundation does. Here is Eric Vermillion, and the executive director of the foundation. Eric?
Thank you, Paul. I'd like to begin, brethren, if I might, with a point of personal privilege. Today, in addition to a day when we celebrate the founding of our Grand Lodge, it's also a day when we're celebrating a birthday of one of our past Grand Masters and a guy who just happens to be the president of our Masonic Home Foundation. And I'd like to recognize most worshipful brother Jeff Zaring today because it's his birthday. And we'd like to have you all acknowledge that for him. Now, the only reason Jeff was willing to consent to that is that we decided we would shamelessly exploit his birthday for toward the purpose of raising funds for the foundation. And if you visited our booth out earlier, you know that Megan Schmidt's got a campaign going, and several folks have already donated in honor of Jeff's birthday today. So if you're so inclined, please come back and see her or go to imhf.org and make an online donation. We'd love to have that as part of the legacy of today and in celebration of all that Jeff does for us at the foundation. So thank you again, Jeff, for being a part of this. Brethren, today is a day when we relish our traditions, and not just tradition for the sake of tradition, but because our traditions are what point out who we are and what we're about. Many of those traditions are things that we consider to be the ultimate blessing. The fact that we've had a Grand Lodge in this state for 206 years, and the traditions that have sprung forth from that. Among those traditions are the fact that we have the Indiana Masonic Home at Compass Park, a tradition that we've had for nearly 108 years now. And then also the Indiana Masonic Home Foundation, which supports it, which is in its 88th year. Those traditions are meaningful not because of the sake of tradition and not because they sprung forth from any particular scenario, but because they're about you. Those traditions are about you because you are the people who support it, you are the brethren who invest in it, and you are the brethren who make the realities come true on the Compass Park campus. That kind of tradition is incredibly meaningful. That kind of tradition allows us to apply some additional meaning to our Masonic teachings. We talked a little bit earlier today about the concept of the fruits of our labors and what our Masonic teachings inform us about. The fruits of our labors when it comes to the foundation are very happy residents indeed down at Compass Park, and the fact that you, as a member of this fraternity, not only contribute through your dues, but so many of you also contribute through additional donations that allow us to provide about $3.5 million each year to support fraternal care residents. And those fraternal care residents do extremely well and have good outcomes because of your generosity. You know, the traditions that each of us observe with regard to our donating habits, if you will, are varied. And as I mentioned before, so many of you have donated before. If you are a contributor, perhaps this is a day to change your tradition or renew that tradition, make it augmented for the new year in 2024. If you're not yet, maybe this is the day to establish that tradition. We would love to bring you into the family of IMHF donors and add additional meaning to your experience as a Freemason. Whatever that tradition leads you to, we can only project the concept of gratitude from this point forward, because we're extremely grateful for everything that everyone in this room and so many outside it, all those who are visiting with us via live stream, thank you for all that you do. And thank you for everyone here for everything that you do to make sure that the Masonic Home at Compass Park is a viable place that provides great outcomes for our residents. We can't thank you enough for that, And we appreciate all that you do throughout the year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my worshipful brother, and thank you for all the good work that you do. The Grand Lodge Scholarship Board has helped thousands get an education they would not have had without a Masonic scholarship. Greg Jordan is the chairman of our scholarship board. Greg? This happens to me in television all the time. Bobby Unser would never, ever show up on time. And when he did, he had no idea what he was going to do or what he was going to say. Matter of fact, he took to having the stage manager write his opening on camera on a bunch of file folders and then hold it alongside the camera so Bobby would know what to say. Well, it's a terrible practice. I told him a number of times, don't do that. Don't do that. He kept doing it. So one year, up at the top of the grandstand at Michigan International Speedway, we're going to do our on-cameras, we're ready, and I set the deal up with the stage manager. It's before we're going to go on the air, but Bobby, come on, we're on the air, come on. He gets over, we get in place, I do my little thing, and you know, of course, here with us is three-time Indy 500 winner Bobby Unser. And he starts talking. He's reading right off those cards until the stage manager just let it go and the wind took it away. You should have seen Bobby's face. We then went on live and he did just fine without the cards, but he learned, I think, a valuable lesson. So, finally, little time there. Thank you for listening. Let's bring us Greg Jordan, the chairman of the scholarship board.
I don't have stories of race car drivers like Paul. Oh. But I do have the gavel. Well, I don't have a lot of information to impart on a screen for you. Most everything I have to say you will either be able to read in the current or next issue of the Indiana Freemason. I just want to highlight a few things that are important that may not be included in there. First of all, I want you to know that you and your predecessors for the last 34 years have awarded over 12,000 scholarships and over $14 million because of a fund that was set up by a couple of men, one of whom was a very large fund, and we're able to use the corpus of that each year. So we have also changed some of the rules over the years from what was originally established. We still have to maintain the guidelines that were put in the trust for the large sum of money, but a Mason can now apply for himself if he wants to, and we get a few each year who apply for themselves. We used to have an age restriction. You couldn't apply if you were older than a certain age, but we understand that times are changing, and we have some of our members who are wanting to change the direction of their lives, and so they want to apply for college. So a Master Mason can apply on his own. And to do that, a Master Mason goes through his member portal, and he can click on a button to start an application, and the process is very quick and easy. Of course, the majority of our applicants are students who are not Masons yet, they're both male and female, and they must have a sponsor. The sponsor can either be their father, their stepfather, or grandfather. And to do the application, to start the application, they will go to the Grand Lodge website. And I want to be very clear about this. Probably the one thing that still creates a little bit of havoc each year is that some well-intended Mason will go to his member portal and click on starting an application for his child. And when you click from your member portal, it's going to populate all the information as if you are the one applying for the scholarship. And we can't undo that. We just got to delete it and start all over again. So if you're not applying for you, if you're trying to help a child, a stepchild, a grandchild, please go to the IndianaFreemasons.com website. Please click on the application, go to charities and community, I think, and then scholarships is an option. And once you get there, you'll be able to click on a link. The applicant, we encourage the applicants to do this themselves. Again, parents are well-intended and want to help. These kids are getting ready to start out on their own, and if they are going to continue to have mom and dad do everything for them, they're not going to learn a lot of lessons, or at least not as quickly as we think they should. So it would be really great if you can help them along the way and provide them some information, but it's all set up so that they should be able to do this themselves. They don't have to enter your financial information. There's not a lot of stuff that they have to do that they really need your help with. So they will need, however, the sponsor's member ID. That's as it appears on your due statement with the lodge number and your number. They'll need the sponsor's last name, and they'll need the sponsor's date of birth. All of this is used to validate against the Grand Lodge's database to determine that the sponsor is a member in good standing, meaning that his dues have been paid. They will also have to enter an ID, cell phone number, or an email address, so that when this is all confirmed, then they'll use that in the future to access that application. It really should take less than 30 minutes for them to fill out the application. And if they don't have to fill it out all at one time, they can go in, start it, they can save their progress and go back in later to finish it. The only thing they really have to attach is a copy of their latest transcript. I do want to remind you that they have to attend, this is a requirement we cannot overcome, they have to attend an Indiana college or university. It can't be for an out-of-state school. They have to be enrolled as a full-time student, which is a minimum of 12 credit hours. And they have to be doing an undergraduate degree. We cannot use this money for a postgraduate degree. So other than that, it's really very simple. The portal should open within this next week. We're just fine-tuning some last-minute things. And the application portal will remain open until March 31st. After that, then the scholarship board members will review the applications. They'll determine how much money we have to give, how much the scholarships will be, how many people will receive them. We will then send notifications to the students to notify them one way or the other. And we will also send a notification to each lodge who had a student submit an application to tell them what the status of that was. Either they did receive a scholarship or they did not receive a scholarship. We'll have a program here in the Scottish Rite Cathedral in early July where the Grand Master will present the scholarship checks to those who are able to attend. They don't have to attend, but we like to have them here. It's a great building for them to see, and another face of Freemasonry that they can get exposed to. And if they can't attend, we will mail the check to them. Also, one other final note, the check does have to be payable to the school, so we will need to do that. We don't make the check payable to the student, and that's for tax reasons. So it's all very cut and dried. Again, the issues of the Freemason that you can read should have all that information. If you go to our charity site, it'll have our regular info email address. You can send that. I'll get those emails and I'll respond to you if you have any questions, but it's really pretty straightforward. I do want to acknowledge we have several members in here who are on the board, like past Grandmaster Carl Coleman, past Grandmaster Richard Lentz. I don't know if Keith Spurgeon is still here, but he was on it. Oh, there was one other board member I wrote down that I was afraid. Our current Grandmaster has been an absolute godsend to this board, to the scholarship board over the years to help us with his financial acumen. So we're grateful for his support on that too. So unless there are any questions, thank you all for your participation and look forward to getting scholarships.
As said before, we have all taken an obligation to help a brother Mason in need. Well, Compass Park on Red Skelton Circle in Franklin helps that directive. If you've never visited down there, make sure you do. It is a must. Chad Davis is the Director of Achievement at Compass Park. Chad?
About 10 years ago, her mother and father were here. And at the time, we were in the dining room waiting in line. And a gentleman, and I believe his daughter, anyway, was behind us. And they were talking about the homes over here. And that intrigued me. About the same time, my mother moved into a patio home, and we liked that idea for our retirement. And there was just many things that for us were long-term, wanted to come to this area, and it just fit perfect for us.
We came to a presentation years ago when Compass Park had pictures of Youngs Creek and the future. And so we saw those and we thought, okay, we're not ready this minute, but when that comes to be, that's going to be our future too. And so we came over here when it was just still a dream, and they had a little trailer, and we went in and got some more information. And so we were the first ones to enter Youngs Creek, the new apartments.
My husband drove one of the many Mystics cars in the shrine parades they had here on the circle. And as they did their little parade around the circle, I noticed that fountain, the clock, how beautiful the park was. I really thought it was going to feel like city living, but now that I have been here, and it's more peaceful here than it was in the country.
The amenities, there's so many.
I enjoy going to the pool. It has really made a big difference in my physical condition, and the aquatic classes are great.
And the water gives me resistance and helps me out. It's been a game changer physically for me coming here and having that to use every day at my convenience. There were things that I wasn't able to do anymore a year ago that I am now.
I was a high school counselor for 30 years. I've never seen equipment like this in a high school, in colleges. So I think that's terrific.
We have excellent activities here. We have 2 full-time activity directors. We have games, we have crafts activities. We've had opportunities to go to the IRT, the Art Craft Theater here in Franklin. There's a variety of activities, and there's always a group of people that want to do it with you.
They have bus trips. We've gone to the casino many times for horse racing as well as slots.
They clean our apartment every other month. And one thing I like the underground parking, and I like all the security in this building. You never worry about anything. If you forget to lock your door, so what? Nobody's going to get in here. That's my greatest thing.
We have the little pull chains in our bedroom and our bathroom, and if one of us would get sick or fall, you just pull that chain and somebody's there instantly.
On top of that, the maintenance inside and outside of your home. You do nothing. You pick that phone up and call. It's wonderful. When something breaks, you pick the phone up and call, and they fix it. You don't have to call 6 people. You call one person and it's done.
We just had a fellow in our place yesterday twice that we had requested, and they right up there and did it, and that's really great for me because I don't ever want to see another screwdriver or anything.
There's also the community garden, which is really appealing to me because I did a lot of gardening before we moved here. And it's a very large space. The maintenance staff tills it for us, and then we just pick a plot and then we just take care of it at that point for the rest of the summer. So that's fun.
The walking trail, I love the walking trails. The shelter houses during the spring, fall, and summer have gatherings. We have nice gatherings. It's a good way for all the neighbors to get together. I enjoy that as well.
A couple of my neighbors I know have spent time in the rehab with the nursing care, and it's right here through the main building, Scottish Rite building, the nursing center. It's all connected to Youngs Creek apartments. No matter the weather, I don't have to go outside if I don't want to. Everything is pretty much under one roof.
I've had my knee replaced twice, and I was at the med center and rehab for that. I would not be walking as well as I do today with my knees if I had not done that.
The rehab has gobs of help. We've been over there to visit people that need rehab. Charlie came back today, and then all the way up to final care. So we know we'll be taken care of all the way through. We don't have to worry about that. So whatever our needs will be, you guys will be there for us. So that's, you know, that's the main point, I think.
There is home care available to you. Everything that you would want at home on your own is conveniently available here.
If you're considering a retirement community, I don't think you'll find any in comparison.
If you're thinking about coming to Compass Park, my question to you is going to be, if not now, when? That's what kept coming back to us, that everything was right. So do we wait till later, or do we just come now?
This is a place to come to live, not to die.
There's just nothing lacking in your life. If you come down here, it's all inclusive, it's all available right here on our campus.
There's no better place in Franklin to live than here. There's 300 acres of grounds that are just beautiful all the time.
I'm so proud, so proud.
There's just so many people that are willing to meet your needs.
We haven't regretted it a bit. It's just like living in any other home that we've lived in. You know, our neighbors have been wonderful. They're good people.
They're houses. We live in a house. We have a job. We have a dog. So, yeah, life just goes on.
This is the right place for me. It's my home. I'll be here the rest of my days.
Everybody here is for us, you know, and we know we'll be taken care of.
Friends, there's plenty of friends and people willing to be friends.
I can't say enough good about the experience for us.
It's been the best decision I've made for my life. And I hope that someday you make that decision for your life, and I can say to you, welcome home.
Also, if you haven't been down there, Franklin has a lively downtown. It's really a pleasure to go down to Franklin and just hang out, so consider that as well. For those of you that may be interested, they have some really excellent bars, too. Whatever. Jerry Maple is the newest member of the Grand Lodge line, serving as the junior Grand Deacon. He has some thoughts on how we relate to one another as brothers. Jerry?
Brothers, wasn't that an inspirational video that shows how we as Masons care for our brethren? It sure was. I'm going to talk to you about another program that shows how we can care about our brethren. Brothers, first I want to start out by asking you a question. If you know the answer, just go ahead and shout it out. In a lot of lodges, brothers, when is the only time that a brother hears from the lodge? Dues time. That is exactly right. And why is that? Brothers, we have our members. We've got to contact with them. We've got to be in contact with them. We've got to show our brothers that we care. So I'm going to ask you another question. This one might be a little bit harder. Who is the greatest resource or the best resource for growing your lodge, for attaining new members? Okay, I hear secretary. Well, I hear new members. I hear everybody. To me, the correct answer is a happy member. A member of the lodge that is engaged with the lodge. A member of the lodge that is being informed of what's going on in the lodge. A lodge member that feels like he truly belongs to the lodge. That is your best resource for attaining new members. Well, how do we do that? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we call the brother-to-brother program. Now, the brother-to-brother program was started in the Scottish Rite Valley of Fort Wayne by a guy by the name of Bill Doctor. Well, it was wildly successful. Completely took off, and in fact, it was so successful that the Northern Masonic jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite picked up the program as a jurisdiction-wide program. And it goes through all the Northern jurisdiction now. We practice the brother-to-brother program right here in this valley. And I looked last night, and I don't know, we probably have about 8 members on the committee. And as of last night, this year, our 8 members have made 4,385 phone calls to brothers. These are brothers that a lot of times aren't reached by anybody else in Masonry. These are brothers that are happy to receive these phone calls. They are just ecstatic. You know, I've got a very quick aside on this. My father retired. He moved to Arizona. My mother unfortunately passed away. Well, he was active in Arizona, in his community, but he was removed from his lodge. He was removed from the Scottish Rite. He was removed from the shrine. We didn't hear from him, except at dues time. Well, a number of years ago, he got a call from a member of the Scottish Rite here. His first question, well, why are you contacting me? I paid my dues. I don't know why you're contacting me. Well, after that, he found out that they were just calling to say hi, calling to say, hey, how you doing, brother? And you know what? For years after that, my dad talked about that. He said, you know what? That was just one of the best things that could happen. I love this program, and I want it to continue, and it has. So, how do we institute a brother-to-brother program? Next slide, please. First of all, what the brother-to-brother program consists of is you can make telephone calls. And in my mind, that is the absolute best, most personal way to reach brothers that are maybe, dispersed. You can use emails. You can personalize these emails. You can send greeting cards to the brothers. And, I say that phone calls are the best way, but no, personal visits. If you can get a group of 2 or 3 guys to go out and visit our brethren that maybe are shut-ins or maybe are just guys that are having a hard time, go out and visit them, shake their hand, tell them you care. So, next slide, please. So, why should we be calling? Well, we want to inform them of the degree work that's happening. We want to inform them of special events. We may want to just tell them about a funeral. But really, brothers, the reason that we make these calls is just to say hello. Just to say, brother, we care about you. We want you to know what's happening in the lodge. We want you to know that you are very, very special to us, and we value you as a member and as a brother. Now, what I want to emphasize, brother-to-brother calls are not for the collection of dues. Brother-to-brother calls are not for the collection of dues. There's a committee for that. Let that committee do their job. So, next slide, please. Okay, how do we go about doing this? Well, the best way is to pick a night. Have your lodge pick a night. Make it the same night every month. Get together at the lodge, get together at somebody's house, get together wherever. Make some calls. You can do it before or after the stated meeting. You can do it another night in the lodge building. Bring in food, plan an activity, make it a fun evening for everybody. Or, we used to have a guy here at the Scottish Rite in the Valley of Indianapolis. He didn't have anything to do for 20 minutes. He'd pick up the phone and start calling people. And he did that for years and years and years. And those brothers really, really appreciate that. So individually at home, brothers, you got 20 minutes, you got a list, call some brothers, say hi. Now, the key is, again, like with my dad. My dad was, well, why are you calling me? I paid my dues. You got to make them understand, this is for no other reason, excuse me. Just say hi. We value you. We care about you. We want to let you know we value your membership. So, next slide, please. Now, there's other methods other than telephone. You can use email. And if you use email, there are a couple services out there that make this very, very easy. You can use MailChimp. You can use Constant Contact. And if you use these, you can personalize the email to the brother, and the brother reads it, and it is like it is tailored to him. Greeting cards. As Andy, the marketing director, said, it's very easy to get a birthday card program together. It takes, a couple hours. So get that together. Once you get it together, you don't have to think about it again. A brother's having a hard time, or maybe You know, you haven't seen him for a while, send him a thinking of you card. Hey, brother, how you doing? What's going on? And then finally, you know, unfortunately, we sympathy cards. That's another way we can reach members and let them know that we do care. Now, personal visits. These are wonderful, and they are the best method. But, you know, unfortunately, they are also very time-consuming and very hard to do, especially if a brother has moved. But, you know, older members or shut-ins, these guys will just appreciate a visit, a personal visit. Brother, how you doing? Like to say hi to you. You know, like to sit down and talk to you. And in a lot of cases, those guys will never let you leave. They'll keep you there for hours if they can. So, you know, another time, you know, a brother maybe has had a loss, or maybe he's having a hard time at work, or maybe there's something going on in his personal life. You know, he needs an ear. Brother, how you doing? Brother, you know, we're here for you. What can the lodge do for you? So, next slide, please. So, the key to a brother-to-brother program, it's an easy thing. The key to a brother-to-brother program is just to do it. It's to do it. It's to start it. So, you start it. Now, once you start it, you do it regularly. Like I said, you do it on the same night every month. You keep it going. Now, you keep track of calls, okay? Who have I called? Who did I contact? Okay, I didn't contact him this time. I'm going to try him again later. So, you measure the effectiveness of this. Okay, and, you know, I've made so-and-so calls. You know what? That brother came back to lodge. That brother is now attending lodge regularly. That's a good measurement. You know, let's measure the effectiveness. So, you know, again, I want to emphasize this again. Reach out to brothers who possibly live alone, possibly are shut-ins. They appreciate the call. And if you do this, brothers, you can grow your lodge through the happy brothers who are going to be so happy to, hey, you know what? I am so happy with my lodge right now. I know Joe Smith that I work with, or I know Joe Smith that lives next door. He's a good man. He's going to be a Mason. He's going to be a great Mason. I'm going to get that petition in his hands. But brothers, we have to make happy current members for that to happen. Thank you.
Now we move to what is actually our keynote of the day. There are many ways, many organizations that do charitable work as we do. There are many fraternities with close brotherhood. But we're special. And why are we special? Why is Freemasonry our choice? Randy Seipel, the Senior Grand Warden, has some answers.
Thank you, Brother Paul. Thank you, brother, and it's great to be here. Good afternoon. We're winding down Founders Day 2024. I'm not really sure what I've done to our Deputy Grand Master, but I've been placed in the precarious position of following Past Grand Master Roger Van Gordon in a wonderful presentation by Past Master Tyler Whitaker and lunch. So if, you know, we've got to talk, we can do that. A couple of housekeeping things real quick that the Scottish Rite staff is asking to do. Someone lost their cell phone in the first floor restroom, and it is at the security office. And the announcement that was made about Brother Tom Fallis and the $100 bills, I inquired to him about that, and he happens to be my boss here at the Scottish Rite. And I'll just say that his response was less than Masonic. So with that, there we go. So why Freemasonry? When the Deputy Grand Master and I were kind of doing the beginning stages of planning Founders Day, which falls upon the Deputy Grand Master with the assistance from the Senior Grand Warden, Deputy Grand Master Dave, my older brother, has asked me to talk about why Freemasonry. He gave me no guidelines, which is dangerous for me because I can talk almost endlessly, as most of you know. And there's just so many ways that we could take the subject of why Freemasonry. Why am I a Mason? Why are you a Mason? Why do we want more Masons? Why do we stay in Freemasonry? Why do we leave Freemasonry? It's wide and open. I'm going to try to hit a couple wide points. First, I want you to look at the man beside you, or behind you, or in front of you, and the guys that are home, watching at home, or in lodge parties, look at that man beside you, and I'm going to transpose some verbiage here. That man beside you is not a member of Freemasonry. He is not a member of Freemasonry. That man beside you, or that you're looking at, is your brother. I'm transposing an idea. The Grand Master and I are membership guys. We were membership guys at Scottish Rite. We've signed petitions. We have a drive to membership. But again, I'm transposing words that I don't want to fill this fraternity with members. Membership is easy. Membership in an organization is easy. You pay a fee, you pay an initiation fee, you fill out a petition, you join, you get elected. Depending on the lodge, depending on your desires and where you go, how much you put into that to progress to full membership, it's easy. You've done nothing. But I'll tell you, being a Freemason is hard. And it takes work. And it takes dedication. And it takes the support of each one of you supporting each one of us. And the relationships that we build in this fraternity, that mystic tie that holds us together, it's not always easy. I say it in some other things I talk about sometimes, that in this great fraternity, we don't always like each other. There are brothers that I know that probably don't care for me, that wouldn't want to take a long car ride, wouldn't want to sit in a fishing boat. And in turn, there's brothers that I have that I wouldn't want to be invited over to their house to dinner. We're just not, we're just not connected. But why Freemasonry is because despite our differences, despite our disagreements, despite the fact that sometimes we don't get along, because of our shared obligations and because of our shared charges, we are united together in this fraternity by brotherly love. There is this distinct difference between like and brotherly love. And for each one of you, I have brotherly love for. And I would hope that each one of you has brotherly love for me, despite our differences, despite a conflict, despite our politics and all the other different chaos of life, that you would help me and I would help you. And that's one of the reasons why Freemasonry. What other organization, what other group, what other club binds us together in brotherly love? And we're charged to hold each other to that certain line, to hold each other to our obligations, to whisper good counsel in the ear of a brother, to aid and assist and support him in his troubles. What other organization does that? I spent 30 years in law enforcement. I have a long and somewhat not glorious story at some times, and other times a story of great triumph. And that law enforcement was so integral in my life that how many law enforcement officers do we have here? I know we got some up here. I know there's some over there. One of the most distinctive symbols of a law enforcement officer, besides a cup of coffee and a donut, is the thin blue line. The thin blue line. You'll see it on patches, you'll see it on flags, and the thin blue line in law enforcement is emblematic that the law enforcement officer is the last line of defense behind chaos and behind a civilized society. And it's not a thick line. We'd love it to be thicker, but it's a line that holds us. In my mind, Freemasonry is the last standing organization that is the thin blue line between civility and incivility. It is the preferred, it is the premier fraternal organization that takes good men, not perfect men, and makes them a better man. The beauty of Freemasonry to me is I don't know a perfect Mason. There were some that were awful close. We had our dinner, our annual dinner with the Grand Lodge officers last night for Founders Day. And we always talk about the past Grand Masters that have gone on before us. And of course we lost past Grand Master Richard Hickam. To many of us, to most of us, the Mason. The Mason. And we lost him. And even Richard Hickam would admit that he was not perfect. But what Freemasonry does, why Freemasonry, is because we are together striving for perfection. We don't always make it. I can tell you in my own life, I made a lot of mistakes. Some of them were minor, some of them were major. But what Freemasonry does and has done for me was to let me know that I wasn't alone. And when I failed, and when I failed miserably, that there were brothers there for me, some that I knew and intimately knew, and some that I didn't know at all, were there to help, aid, and assist me and provide me with that brotherly love and that relief and encourage me to seek truth, which is the very foundation of this great fraternity. Who else does that? But church, very involved in the church, sometimes they fail. But Freemasonry in my life in 26 years, through all the good times, through all the greatness, through all the wonderful things that I've been able to achieve in my professional life and my personal life, Freemasonry has been there. And it's been a constant with me. But also through all my mistakes, through all the tragedy, through death, through divorce, through problems, through issues, through financial problems, whatever we are faced with, Freemasonry has also been there. Through the good and through the bad. Why Freemasonry? When I joined the fraternity, I didn't come from a Masonic family. There's a brother sitting over here. I don't know your name. I don't think we've met, but he's got a very impressive Lewis jewel. What's on there, 7? 6. I did not come from a Masonic family. My father was not a Mason. He would have been a fantastic Mason. But I had a great uncle or two that were long dead and gone when I was young that my family spoke reverently of. Uncle Abel was a Mason. And I think he was a 32nd degree Mason. It meant something to my family. They didn't understand it. They didn't know it. And that was always a little seed in the back of my mind. But when I joined, I just started my career in law enforcement. I had moved from my community to a brand new community, and I wanted to meet men that weren't police officers to enhance my life. Now, all our police officer guys know cops are fun to hang around with, but after a while, you need to broaden your horizons because you're constantly, you get cynical, you get angry at society, and you suspect everybody of doing something. So for a police officer, it's very healthy to join Freemasonry and expand their horizons of the people that they know and that they associate with, to trying to battle back from that cynicism. And that's why I initially joined, to meet good men and meet men in my community. And it was successful. But what I didn't know, what it opened up in me was I could memorize things. I was a terrible student. Terrible. Didn't cause a whole lot of trouble. The ones that you know me, I have a certain sense of mischief that I like to get into. But I wasn't a troublemaker by no means. But I was not a good student. I always said on my report card, does not apply himself. Not apply himself to his full capability. I had a crusty old secretary at my lodge by the name of Leo Wilson. You never saw Leo unless it was in the lodge room without a Moore 120 cigar hanging out of the corner of his mouth. And they sent me to be his mentee. He was my mentor. And he was tough. He was tough. He held me to the line. We'd go all the way through the catechism, the pitch and catch, the questions and answers. And he'd go, well, not bad, but you missed 3 words. And I go, what 3 words did I miss, Leo? That's not for me to tell you. We would go back at it. But I learned it. I learned it, and I learned it well. To the point that I kind of became, I won't say a pet, but the old lodge guys would take me, I'm going over to Knightstown Lodge, and you're coming with me, and you're going to do that apron lecture, because they need to see that. And it opened up something in me that I learned the ritual. I was hungry to learn. I was hungry to learn. I was hungry to do it. I was hungry to challenge myself, to learn this ritual. But then, as time went on, I knew all the ritual, but I didn't understand it. Knew it. You understand some of it, but I really didn't understand it. And I'm looking at my good brother Jim Sharp up there. Years ago from the South. Years ago in traveling, I met Jim. He probably doesn't remember the first time he met me, but I met him, and he's a beautiful ritualist. Beautiful. But what opened up in me, he doesn't know this. We've never had this conversation. What he didn't know was that he opened up in something in me, because not only did he know it, he understood it. You could tell that he understood it. And beyond understanding it, as I watched him and I would ask people about him, and anytime we've met, he lives it. He lives it. Why Freemasonry? Because of brothers like Jim Sharp. I look over here to my right, and I see young Elliot from Fellowship Lodge up here waving at everybody, so they know young Elliot. Young Elliot is much like I was. He joined the fraternity a lot younger than I was when I joined. I was 28. But he's got a desire to learn the ritual. Cliff Henderson is taken under his wings. He doesn't talk near as long as Cliff does, but it's taught him and taught the ritual. And to watch him progress through line, he's now senior warden. He gave me the honor the other day of asking me to be his installing officer when he's to be installed as master next year. To see that, and now seeing him progress into knowing it, to living it, and to understanding it. That's why Freemasonry. Look at the dichotomy in age and experience between Elliot and Jim. Jim, you're 87, and Elliot's 26. Oh, you're 30. How did you must eat better than I do. 87 and 32. Yet, what's the commonality between those two brothers? They're brothers. They're brothers. No matter the age, no matter the profession, no matter the difference, that they meet on the level, and they're brothers, striving for perfection. Why Freemasonry? That's why. So as I progressed and I began to understand what I was talking about, to put some feeling in it and put some heart in it, then you realize sometimes you look in the mirror and you look at that person and you go, ugh, I'm not tired. I didn't like the man looking back at me. I did not like him. You take the working tools out of the box and work on yourself. Why Freemasonry? Because it allowed me to come to the realization that I wasn't the man or the Mason that I was capable of being, that I had work to do. And Freemasonry has allowed me, without judgment, to do that work. To do that work. Freemasonry is reflective. It takes work. It's not easy. If we're not looking at ourselves in the situations we get into on a regular basis in daily life and realize that once in a while we're not great. Once in a while we're not the Freemason that we're capable of being. We're not the husband, the father, the worker, the friend that we're capable of being. And we don't take out our working tools, then really why Freemasonry? Why are you here? Because it's a personal journey. We're each on that journey. We all have different ideas. We all have different needs. We all have different thoughts. And Freemasonry is so wide and encompassing that it can meet every one of them. It can meet every one of them. Why Freemasonry? Because it has made me a better man. But I am still on that journey. I am still on that journey. There's times when I suffer from PTSD. There's times when I feel like if I get backed in a corner, I start swinging. Instead of adjusting to what's the best way to handle this situation. buckle up and I start swinging because I feel like I'm being cornered. I still have work to do. Freemasonry is still supportive of me, but I've come a long way because of my relationship with my brothers and because of my relationship with them and that co-joining of brotherly love. Brotherly love. What does the world need more now than brotherly love? Moving on in my Masonic career, then when you start the understanding, you start developing the personal changes in your life that Freemasonry can give you, what next? What next? That's when, hopefully, the student becomes the teacher. The student becomes the teacher. And it's a great responsibility when someone trusts you enough to say, Randy, I've got a problem and I need help. That Freemasonry gives us the opportunity to pick up a brother when he's fallen. Freemasonry gives us the opportunity to celebrate with a brother when he stands up. When he stands up. Freemasonry gives us the opportunity to be the shoulder to cry on. And I've cried. And I've been cried on. What other organization does that? How do we transpose this beautiful fraternity that we have? It's beautiful. The ritual is beautiful, but more beautiful is the relationships of brotherhood. How do we transpose that to grow, to maintain? I'm a firm believer in brothership versus membership. I believe that in my heart. Again, I don't want the lodge room filled with members. I want it filled with brothers, whether they make it to lodge or not. They're still our brothers, but that sense of we're together in this fight of life, striving to be better, striving for each of us to help each other to be better, sometimes to pull us along, sometimes to push us, and sometimes to walk side by side. That's who I want in my lodge. And we all have men within our circle, our own personal circle, that we know would be good Masons. And you have to figure out, what's your why? I see a man, the days, Grandmaster and I have talked about this, the days of waiting for a man to ask to join the fraternity are dead. They're dead. Some people still ask, but they're gone. That was an archaic rule placed years ago. Whoops, my timer's going on. I'm going to have to wrap it up. I love to talk. They're dead. Okay, so they're dead. We have to talk to good men about this fraternity. Give them the option if they want to join and join us, but you have to find your why. Why is it important to you for this great fraternity to bring men into this fraternity? Because it's going to make me better. My motivation is more brothers makes me better. More brothers makes my family better. More brothers makes my community better. More brothers makes the state and the state of Freemasonry in Indiana better. And more Masonic brothers will make the world a better place. Do you agree? In closing, I'd ask you one thing. I've done this in some other groups. I want you to think about if you walked out the door today and on the way home, some nondescript governmental police car pulled you over and yanked you out of the car and said, "You're under arrest." And you go, "What's the charge, officer?" "You're under arrest for being a Freemason." Would you be found guilty? Absolutely. The exhibition, the light that our Deputy Grand Master talks about will attract men to this fraternity. When you live it, when you walk it, when you fall down and fail and pick yourself up and ask for help and get assistance, and they say, God, he screwed up. But man, did he make a great recovery. Why Freemasonry? Because it's made me a better man than my brothers. And I mean that from my heart. I have no doubt that it's made you a better man. Thank you very much.
Follow Randy Seipel, they said. Oh, Lord. Randy Seipel, everybody. I could listen to him talk all day long, and that's dangerous because he can talk all day long. Thank you all for being here. I really have a special place in my heart for Founders Day. I've always felt like Founders Day is a celebration of Indiana Freemasonry. Sure, Freemasonry exists all over the world, but Indiana Freemasonry belongs to us. And that's really what this day has always been about year after year, is a celebration of Indiana Freemasonry and what we have here. And to me, that's very special. And what a great message, right? I mean, I'm always invigorated when I come to Founders Day and I leave with a renewed sense of what it means to be a Freemason. And you couldn't have got a greater message today from the gentlemen that have spoken. And be the light, right? Be the light. What a powerful message. And I've learned from what's been said today that one of the greatest tools, perhaps the greatest tool that we have to ensure a bright future for Freemasonry is you. And I'll tell you what, that gives me a lot of hope because I think you guys are great, personally. So it's been a wonderful afternoon, and I hope you guys have all appreciated what's been presented to you. It takes a lot of work to put together a Founders Day. A lot of people have been involved in doing the presentations, but there's also a lot of people behind the scenes. So I'd like to take a moment if you guys would join with me in thanking the film crew and the lighting crew and the stage crew and the Scottish Rite here for giving us an opportunity to put this on here for you today. So thank you. I got to say, I really enjoy being here. This is important, and it's why I thank you, gentlemen, for being here. We have crazy weather all over the state today, so I'm really grateful that we have an opportunity to live stream this for the people who couldn't make it here to see it, but nothing beats being in person with your brothers, and so it's very special to be here and to be a part of it. Before we call up the last speaker here for the day, I just have a couple of announcements I want to make to you. Make sure that when you leave here today, you take all of your personal belongings. As we exit from the cathedral here, they're going to lock everything up. You won't be able to get back in and get the things that you need. Across the street, the library and museum is going to be open until 3 p.m. We encourage you guys to go over there and see what a beautiful gem we have there at the Freemasons Hall across the street. And if you're so inclined to stick around for a little while, there's going to be a fantastic presentation by Seamus Driver at the Dwight L. Smith Lodge of Research on the 5th floor of Freemasons Hall across the street. That's going to start at 3 o'clock. So we'd like to see as many of you there if you're willing to come on over and do it. We're getting ready here to break for lunch shortly after this last speaker. So when you go to lunch, if you're coming to join us, be careful going down the stairs. We always have a couple of incidents of people stumbling down those stairs. There's a lot of brothers moving down at once. Just be careful. Look out for the guys around you. Make sure you don't fall going down the stairs. But without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you probably the most important speaker here this afternoon. If you would all stand, please, and welcome back to the stage the most worshipful Grand Master of the ancient and honorable fraternity of free and accepted Masons for the state of Indiana, Gary Brinley.
So thank you, John. It has been a great day. Please stay standing. Be the light. Why Freemasonry? Because we are brothers. We're all brothers, and I appreciate the opportunity to call you all brothers. We're getting ready to go to lunch, and with that, I would like to call up our Grand Chaplain, worshipful brother, Michael Brinley. Michael will give us our blessing for the food. And once you get downstairs and are able to get in line, just go ahead and get started.
Brethren, if you will be again in the mind of prayer. Our Heavenly Father, Supreme Architect of the universe, we again come to you at this time with bowed heads, with reverence to thy holy name. Again, we thank you for the many blessings that you bestow upon us. We ask that you be with us today as we travel home to our places of abode. Keep us safe until we can meet again. We ask that you bless the food that we are about to partake for the nourishment of our bodies, and as always, our bodies unto thy service. All this we beg in the honor of thy holy name. Amen.
So, brethren, we will have the 7 toasts downstairs. You go ahead and get your food as you go through the line, and we will start that at some point in time after that. Otherwise, it's my pleasure to call this portion of the 2024 Founders Day program closed. Good evening, brethren.